Okay, guys, I think we're live. We're live. So, thanks for dropping by, guys. I've got Daniel, Keller, Miles. Is still to come on. All from the ZelCash team. So we're just going to chat about ZelCash today. I was chatting to you briefly before. You were saying that you were involved in the Bitcoin Z team before, Miles. And then the coin was launched at the end of January, kind of start of February.
Yep.
So what, like you kind of touched upon this before, but just to, for the benefit of others, what led you to leave the Bitcoin Z team and move ahead and start a project on your own and start ZelCash? Because I know you still have a good relationship with those guys.
Yeah, the reason I started Zel was because, no dismerits to the BTC guys, they're great. It just, I felt like we could do more. So due to how restrictive the sort of funding was at BTCZ, because it was a no pre-mine, no ICO project completely, that's where I sort of felt like I could make some of the ideas I had about, for example, the implementation of a higher TPS version of Ethereum, for example, as a dev platform. I was like, well, this would be really cool and it seems pretty practical to do. Why don't we do it? And we just didn't have the resources to do it, so I started Zel.
How did like obviously Daniel's here and a few others are joining. How did the team grow? Were you were these yourself, Daniel? How did you join the team? Was a lot of people with these pre-existing relationships or?
Well, so my background is I'm in technology, chief information officer. So I was a big time fan of the technology and the space, and I have a fairly large mining facility that mines, and we were looking for spec coins to mine, and we wanted to find, we're going around looking at these different projects and which ones we want to support. And I found through a friend of mine, he said, "Hey, have you seen ZelCash?" And this is what, Miles, in probably the March timeframe. So they had they were really just starting to get a little bit of traction going. And, so I went on their Discord and I sent a message to Miles and I said, "Hey," I said, "can we talk for a couple minutes? I have some questions about your project." And the normal questions, why are you different from every other Z fork? What is it? And he says, "Well, you got 2 minutes." And I said, "Sure." So that was almost 2 hours later. We were on the phone talking, and at the end of the conversation, I said, "Miles," I said, "Look," I said, don't advise other projects, but business is what I do, and I really want to get involved in this." And he's like, "We'd really like to have you involved." And I said, "All right, well, let's do it." He says, "Oh, by the way, did you know I'm 16?" And I'm like, "What?" So that we formed a friendship after that, and of course, and I talked to Trunk and hear his story and the other guys on the team. But we have honestly, I've been in business a very long time. We've got one of the best core teams I think that I've ever seen in business. And these are guys with no egos. These guys, the technology is king. And we work really, really hard. We keep our nose down and we do the things and deliver the things that we say we're going to do. So that's kind of how I got into it. And, it's been a real wild ride. It really has.
But that's a good setup because, I used to do some live streams and we would look at white papers and we would look at, the scores and kind of the research you try and do as a GPU miner or as an ASIC miner, any kind of miner. But when you look at a lot of the setups of these new projects, and I don't want to be too critical, but one of the things I see a lot is that a lot of these new coins, they've got very good coders. They've got, some really intelligent people that understand blockchain and, where things are going. But, perhaps maybe they are too young or, maybe they don't have life experience or maybe they don't have the business acumen that people like yourself do have. And we were touching upon this earlier that there's so many teams now and they want to remain anonymous over anything else. But, people may say, Miles obviously 16, but the fact you've brought in someone older and, more business experience, that's a very good sign of the project that you're bringing. And that's where I think a lot of teams have failed. You know, again, I don't want to single anyone out, but I've seen some teams where it's almost like a dictatorship, where the main developer handles everything, but then perhaps he's not good socially, perhaps he's not good in business. You can't expect everyone to do everything. This is the thing. You really should develop a team and hire people smarter than you.
Well, we've been unbelievably blessed because each one of us brings talents to the team that, you know, I bring the big business acumen. Parker is one of our, there's five core members, and Parker brings business acumen as well. And he's one of the best project managers I think I've ever worked with, which is fantastic, keeps us all on task. Miles is very young, very entrepreneur-like. You know, it's good to, this old dad keeps him kind of grounded a little bit here and there. But and then Trunk is our crazy genius who just understands blockchain inside and out, and really just I don't think he sleeps. That's the only thing that concerns me.
No, he's like nuclear powered.
If you see his commits, check out his commits. I honestly don't think the man sleeps at all. And then of course we have Lumi, which is our other one, which is our other core member, and he's fantastic as well. Web developer.
He's web developer and designer as well.
Yeah, the website, that's definitely, you know, that's one of the things I noticed right away when I looked at the website. I really like this design, very clean. I like kind of minimal white designs. It's advertising your wallet there, ZelCash. Really nice website. Just to go back to where we were and when you launched, I remember ZelCash when it launched, but I can't remember if I downloaded a wallet at the time, but I do remember at that time there was a lot of coins being launched at that, you know, just like any other month. And as a miner, you kind of pick your battles, and you just have to pick a coin. What kind of problems did you face the first few months, you know, getting established? Did you get a lot of momentum early on, or?
So the approach we took for launch, we announced and we did a slow start initially for the first 5,000 blocks. So the block reward was much less. This just meant we were on mainnet and we could see it running, and it allowed us to actually launch with one of the biggest Equihash pools back at the time and mining speed. And I think they've got a bit smaller now, but back then
they've lost a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, they've lost quite a bit of momentum now, but before then they seemed to be the go-to place for Equihash coins, and they had quite a large community. So we managed to start there, and we also managed to launch with an exchange, stocks exchange as well initially on launch day. So in terms of momentum, it really came gradually, I'd say. We actually, out of the starting team, we're only left with Lumi and I. We also had a developer extra who, due to family commitments, had to back down. And we also had a community manager who was going through some stuff, so he also had to back down. So out of the cool guys, it was just me and Lumi, and then the team sort of expanded from there quite rapidly. And we've sort of reached a point where we're very quick to maneuver. A lot of updates, a lot of releases, a lot of quick news. We're always on Discord to have a chat. But we also want to expand now as well. So that's where we're going. We want to increase the number of developers we have. We want to increase our marketing teams. We really haven't got a marketing plan currently. Yes, there's been one made by Daniel, if you've read that, but it needs to be implemented. It needs to be implemented by people.
No, I think that's the right way to do it as far as growth goes. I think there's a lot to be said about that. You know, I see a lot of new projects and they bring, you know, 10 or 15 new people in. And I think you need time to get to know people and bring in the right people, you know. Maybe
one thing,
like vet them, essentially, you know.
Yeah. Basically, that's what I did. So everyone on the core team, I've met in person. So here's the story.
That's really good.
When I was, back in May 31st was a pretty big day for us. We added 2 exchanges. We had ZelTrez launch, and then the day after that, we had set up our company in Zug, Switzerland, the Crypto Valley, as it's called, with Patrick Storschenger. He advises on the Ethereum board and helps set up the Ethereum Foundation as well. So he's on our advisors. And the first day I met Lumi and Tadeusz. That's what we did. That was the first time I met them in person. And then this was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went over to the States for the first time by myself. and I stayed with Daniel for a week, with another core member and an advisor as well. So everyone on the core team I've met in person, talked to, and I'd say we're less like work colleagues, but more like friends. Everyone just gets on together. We enjoy spending time together. You know, we're planning on camping trips and stuff. So it's a good bunch of people, and everyone sort of gets on with each other. We're not all sort of stuck at home. It does make a difference
that
caves.
You know, I've been to a lot of kind of website conferences over the last few years, and as good as it is via email and, you know, social media and all that, it's very different when you meet someone in person. And yeah, it really does change the dynamic of your relationship, and how you almost want to do things for people for free. You don't want to charge anyone because, like, you know, you become friends with them. No, that's great. That's, you know, I don't think many cryptocurrencies could actually say that right now. You know, just 6 months later, we've met everyone.
We've met in person, and then whenever we're interviewing somebody, the number one thing, if you don't speak English fluently, that's okay. If you've got working pidgin English, that's fine. But anytime we're interviewing somebody, it has to be on voice and on video. We want to talk to you, we want to see you, we know who you are, what you're about, what your values are, visions, sort of they line up with us. That's sort of how I've always sort of been. I like to talk to people in person. I always say, jump on a call, let's have a chat, you know? Because yes, you can type and it's great messaging, like you said, but talking to somebody at least on voice and in person is leaps and bounds better, in my opinion.
Yeah, we found that you know, when we deliver the technology that we promise, and we deliver the you know, that we hit our spots on the roadmap, that it becomes less about the crypto space or the almost kind of push that people have. And they're more involved in the project itself. Yes, they're investors, whether you're mining in or you're buying in or you're trading or whatever you're doing to advance your position. You fundamentally we have a very rabid community, and you fundamentally start to become part of the team. And that's the way we really wanted this to grow. We wanted it to be a holistic growth. We wanted to have our community be a big part of what we were doing, because we had all been part of the crypto world where we saw the wrong things, and we said, well, let's identify those wrong things and let's make those right here. So, you know, I think we've been very blessed to have a core team like we have, and you don't even see that in business. So, it's nice to see that.
Well, one of the first challenges that you had a few months later, and something that a lot of coins had to face, was the announcement of the ASIC miner, the Z9 Mini. Used were on Equihash 209 originally. That's correct, isn't it?
Basically, that was released. 2 minutes later, it's posted in our Discord. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Next minute, I'm on the phone talking with Equipool, and I'm saying, right, what are we doing, guys? What are you guys doing? You heard of this? And they're like, oh, that's interesting. So then me and Equipool we're like, well, let's just get as many of these Equihash coins together and let's work out what we're going to do. So we started a Discord channel called TAR, the ASIC Resistance. And in there, we've got all sorts. We've got mining, so Solver writers. We've got the ZenCash guys. We're in there. Bitcoin Gold, Safecoin's in there. Pigeon, SnowGem, the Ogoda company, they're in there. So we brought all these heads together to work out what could we do to try and keep, and I use quotation marks, this ASIC resistance, or really FPGA resistance, so centralized hardware kind of resistance, I suppose is a better term. But
Bitmain resistance.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to. So my understanding of what ASIC resistance would mean is it's okay to have ASICs as long as they're not getting 2, 3, 4, 10, 100x over GPUs and CPUs. So
yeah, I mean,
the way GPU...
I think that's how everyone responded. They want a level playing field.
Yeah, and with companies like Bitmain, their business practice is quite interesting, to say the least. You know, they're not interested in really in consuming. They're just a company, they're a corporation that, well, everything's a company corporation, but they want to maximize their own profits. They don't really care about the whole decentralization aspect. So that's something that we hold quite core to us. If we can decentralize it, and it makes sense to do so, we should. So proof of works on the top
and it kind of threw us a curveball too, because we were actually looking to go to what, X16R, Miles?
Yeah, and we pretty much had it written until we then heard the news of FPGAs coming out for it that were going to be 100 or 1,000 times more efficient. That was brilliant.
And
So
the irony being
onto
that
the
that was
profile.
the ASIC resistant algorithm.
yeah,
You
exactly.
A few weeks back, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking at other options now. POW, for example, been in touch with Christy, I Got a Girl, and a few other people around that space. And at least for Zel, until we really reach over 50% distribution, we are going to keep actively working on changing our proof of work algorithm to ensure that we are as decentralized as possible to keep this FPGA as an ASIC. Now, if an FPGA comes on and an FPGA is similar to a GPU and an ASIC is similar to a GPU, then that's fine, right? But when we're having stuff that's, like I said, 100 or even 10x, it's an unlevel playing field, like you said.
Yeah, I came across, I can't remember which one it was. I came across a coin recently that used an algorithm, and it can be mined by ASICs, but ASICs actually perform less than GPUs. I can't remember which one it was. But I mean, I do remember at the time, and as far as a level playing field, I don't have a huge setup. I've got 30 GPUs, and I think I was getting about 12,000 sols with 209. So it was like £12,000 worth of hardware. You know, a 1080 Ti was giving you 750, and now this Z9 Mini, which is like $850, can be overclocked and do 16,000. It did generate a lot of interesting discussions about the whole thing, though. You know, because there are benefits to ASICs as far as efficiency, as well, just as far as efficiency is one of the bigger ones for me, certainly with electricity. But it did raise a lot of interesting questions, a lot of interesting debate, especially with regards to security as well, because a lot of people said, well, it's going to secure the network, the hash rate's going to go up and all that.
Does it though?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because
when everyone has access to that
yeah,
increased hash power, it doesn't
the
really
difficulty goes up.
anything.
Yeah,
Your number might be bigger, but everyone's got a bigger number now. So
well, I had this discussion the other day, and it was with 1445, which is what ZelCash is now on. The only real miner out there, I know there was LOL miner, but it's not got a lot of love.
For AMD.
Yeah, it's for AMD, but a lot of people, I don't know if it's improved now. I know when it came out, it wasn't very good. But EWBF,
He was working out hard, yeah.
EWBF miner jumped to 0.5, and every version is giving you like 5%, 10%.
Yeah.
And then I was saying to somebody, was like, yeah, but we're all using the same miner, so it's kind of pointless, like getting a 10% boost, but you're getting, everyone's getting a 10% boost.
Write it yourself quietly and don't release it.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it.
No,
so initially you were going to go towards X16R before the FPGAs.
Before we heard from a reputable source that these FPGAs, I have one right now and it's doing this, so there's no point moving to X16R. We were like, yeah, we won't then.
Had you considered 1445 at the time?
Before, yeah, we did, but we know that there's an ASIC for 1445 out now, or there's about to be one in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be able to change the personalization string as well. So 1445 is not going to be ASIC resistant.
I don't think anything is really.
And we can keep increasing and changing the NK values, but we're going to end up just pushing out more and more GPUs, and there'll still be ASICs that can mine it. So,
is that just another ASIC miner that has more RAM? Is it as simple as that?
For Equihash, it's sort of like that for the changing in between. So I think they can pretty much use the same chips. I think they need to do something like change a few firmware things, I'm sure, but I'm not a hardware dev. But, it wouldn't be difficult for Bitmain to take what they currently have and make a 1445 or 192.7, whatever version they really want.
Yeah, there's another version as well. I can't remember what the other one is. 1445. There's one that Minex coin is on.
There's 192.7, which Zero Coin are on. Not to be confused with Zcoin. Zero Coin, I think it uses like 4 or 8 gigs of system memory.
Wow.
So, not system memory, sorry, VRAM. So only about 1070s and 1080 Ti's can really mine it. And the wonderful 1070 Ti's. So it kicks a bunch of GPU miners out. I mean, ideally, we would be living in a world where everyone was just CPU mining, but it's difficult to get to that point now where you can try and keep even GPUs off. So
well, it's basically like an arms race, essentially. And we're all trying to get rocket launchers.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what it's going to do is it's going to push us in a space to technology that's not even been developed yet. As Miles was kind of talking about TAR, the ASIC resistance, and some of the ideas that have been floated in there. Honestly, the GPU guys have had it easy for a while. We've kind of been the king of the castle, so to speak. The ASICs were there, and they would, if it came out for a particular project, it was usually detrimental to the project at first, but then, as it kind of went on and went forward, it secured the network a little bit more, and we didn't have to worry much about it. But then they came to Equihash. Now we all have to kind of be a little bit concerned. So, I'm a firm believer in we have not yet seen the technology that will be the next iteration. I think it's yet to be developed. I mean, a couple things that have been brought up with, Prog POW or proof of useful work or some of these other pieces. I think that's where we're going to end up heading. And whether you have an ASIC or a GPU or an FPGA or a CPU, I think the technology is just not there yet, but it will be. Sometimes we have to force that.
Yeah, that's not something I know a huge amount. I'm going to show an article to everyone else. I've read this article before, but as far as the actual technical side to it, I'm still learning about it. I think it was Ethereum that floated it first, wasn't it? The programmable proof of work. Was it Ethereum team or
it's pragmatic? It's pragmatic, isn't it? Who was it by?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Programming.
It was by I think it's a couple of people. I think Got a Girl was to do with it, Christy Mineham, and I think there's a couple of people. I'm not sure if they were from the Got a company. They could be from other sources. I looked at it a few months back now. I can't remember it. But that GitHub you just posted. I think that's for Ethereum. They are working on one for Bitcoin fork Equihash type coins as well, and they're working with a project to do so. So they are bringing it to the Equihash Bitcoin fork type coins as well. So we were looking at it. We've talked with Christy, and there's a potential of collaboration or to do it ourselves in the future using what they're working on. Right now, we have our own products that we want to focus on. So as much as this is, it's a nice thing if we had resources to focus on developing proof of work algorithms that are different. I mean, everything's a slight change of something else, right? But it's difficult with our resources that we currently have available to us to do so. So we're sort of leaving that up to other coin teams that sort of focus on that area. And then we're sort of using that and forking it in. So we were focusing on our products, ZelTrez, ZelDex, ZelPay, ZelNodes, stick Zel in front of everything basically. But we have a bunch of products that we have that we're working on. So that's what we're focusing our resources on.
As far as ZelChess, I need to share this with everyone. I'll try and make this window bigger. I can bring this up. So everyone should see that now. So I'm showing the ZelChess wallet, and I think most people agree it's one of the sexiest wallets out there, as far as design goes. Really nice the way it's set up. I remember reading a news article about this a few months ago. Very nice, and you can add so many other coins there. Even in the second screen here, you've got Bitcoin Z, Raven, Snowgem, Zen, Komodo, Bitcoin, Litecoin. As far as the wallet goes, what was the thinking behind not just launching like a QT wallet, just like the usual wallet? Why did you generate like a multi-coin wallet?
So I think we were one of the first coin projects to do this, and as of recent, we've heard others doing something along a similar line. So we came with the idea back in February, where we had our Swing wallet, which at the time I believe was a fork of WinZek. So the Swing wallet, if you're familiar with Equihash coins, everyone knows how wonderful that thing really isn't.
Yeah.
So we were set up there thinking, well, we could do this better. And the initial idea was, well, we want to take what's great about Copay, which we have out as a fork of BitPay's Copay. So we were like, well, that's great. It's lightweight. And then full node is cool because we can do private transactions, at least for now, before it's happening. But we were like, once we started working on it and we said, well, Zel's done now, wouldn't it be cool if we just added other stuff? Well, why not? I mean, we have all this space in this UI. Let's do it. So we started adding some of our favorite coins and some of the coins we used to be a part of, the big stuff as well. And that's where the initial 8 came from. And then we've been reaching out to projects for listings. So we've been getting there's obviously a listing fee for some projects. For others, we try and work on a plan maybe for marketing or something in exchange for it. But we've also now added other features like Changelly and Shapeshift, and there's a few other exchanges as well as our own exchange eventually. But the idea just came from, well, this looks cool. Why don't we make it better? So we decided to develop it.
Yeah, I was very, it kind of took me by surprise because it certainly isn't the norm to do that. I think
and it's sort of the necessity for it was we could have a bunch of small applications coming out for different things for people to manage their Zel nodes, or we could just build that into Swing. We just thought, why not let's start with a nice platform, and then people have it, and we can just keep pushing updates for it to bring the new features to it. So that's really where it came from.
And the other thing I just want to add on there with Miles as well is, as we were kind of discerning this process and looking at it, we said, so we knew the market was flat. We knew that there were these projects that were starting just like us, and how do we differentiate ourselves? How do we set ourselves out from the pack? And that was, we wanted to look at creating that one-stop shop for the crypto users. So we wanted to be able to have all your assets in one location, but we also wanted to help you support those networks if they're a project you believe in. So being able to run a full node in, say, ZCash or ZelCash or one of these other projects, that's important, and it does give you the additional options. But it also acts as kind of a boarding process or a gateway to bring people into the space. And then, of course, the next natural transition is to have a decentralized exchange, a DEX. So then now you have people that have crypto, they can possess crypto, and it's a secure, encrypted, multi-asset platform. But then they can also take that and they can go out and go onto a DEX for the very first time and actually make an exchange, or they can go into Shapeshift or Changelly and make changes in there. So we felt it was almost like we could have just went with the status quo, and it probably would have helped our coin price quite a bit and put us up there quicker. But we literally just got listed on CoinMarketCap, and that, honestly, that was a bit by design, because we wanted to continue to keep developing the technology rather than some overinflated price where people came in and they're like, oh, we gotta have a node, we gotta have this, so, and it pumped the price. So I think all those pieces are kind of, for this project, were really important for us, and we want to support the space. So we have relationships. Each one of the coins that's been added to ZelTrez, we have a relationship with those devs. We have a relationship with those teams. We've reached out to them. We've went through boarding process. We share information and we help them develop their platform, and we take care of a big necessity for them, which is a nice wallet, light and full node, and they don't have to worry about that, so they can focus on the other aspects of their project to keep them growing and keep them developing. So I think it's going to be the next surge in the market. The projects that have looked at the usability of crypto, specifically how crypto is used, maintained, stored in custody, will be the ones that will be successful, because they're the ones that have already looked at the technology and implemented and supported technology that will support them in that next cycle. So,
well, that's the thing. We need to remember that most people that probably watching this video right now, they're in Discord every day. They're reading about cryptocurrency. They're probably quite technical, but the people that we want to adopt it, if you want to go mainstream, you need to make it nice and friendly. Make it simplify it basically. But you raised an interesting point there, because when you think about it, why does every single coin need its own unique wallet? There really isn't. I mean, I do realize every coin, every project wants to put its own stamp on it and branding and all that kind of thing. But in theory, there isn't really any need for that if there's a better solution out there already. You kind of touched upon apps, and I want to speak about nodes in your new white paper as well. But as far as apps and things that are going to happen in the future, Is this all going to be integrated? You know, is the wallet at the core of all this, as far as a DEX, as far as, you know, other applications?
Yeah. So that was the sort of design with Trezor, was to have a sort of central point for everything to do with Zel, different applications inside it. Yes, we can have applications that can be standalone down the line, but for now it's sort of the central hub for everything. So yeah, if you want to ask questions on specific points, we can go through them, like Zel nodes and what they are and how they'll function potentially, and that kind of.
Well, I'll quickly jump over, because this is the second version of your white paper. It's still in draft, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still in draft for a couple more weeks.
Right. So
I think it'll be in draft forever, because
you can never tie yourself down.
It never stops. It never stops.
Yeah.
We'll have this initial V2, and then we'll have V2.1, V2.2 as non-draft versions for sure. But this is for draft for now, yeah.
Right, so I'll just display the white paper for everyone else just now. So you can see this on the website. You go to ZelCash. I believe it's you can get it from the homepage.
Yeah. We need to put a link.
Page. There it's download PDF.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of scroll down and get to the juicy parts. So okay, so you've got the proof of work there. So there's a big description and big detailed area about why you moved to 1445. Okay, so we'll kind of rewind and go back to the block reward here. So was it 2.5 million blocks? Was the pre-mine 2.5 million was the pre-mine?
Oh no! What we did was in block 1, the pre-mine was written there. So we had a dev fund allowance that was 13.02 million.
Oh right, okay.
So that's less than 50% of supply now. It's like 40-ish percent of supply.
And it's 150 ZelCash per block for miners right now. The block reward is down every 2.5 years. And you were saying earlier that the total supply, the max supply, will be 210 million, essentially 10 times what Bitcoin is. So that's detailed here in your white paper. Underneath here in the white paper, you've got Zel nodes, and you know that obviously every white paper needs the introduction and all that, but this was a part that, you know, interests a lot of people. Masternodes are something that, you know, it's interesting a lot of people. If I scroll down, I think you're saying here that it's going to be 25% is going to Zel nodes, 75% to miners. And
for now, that's the numbers we've worked out.
Okay, so you're basing this, and you've got Zel node basic 10,000 coins, super at 25,000, and BAMF at 100,000. And the reward is 15%, 25, 60% of the block of, you know, the reward
of the 25%.
Yeah, of the 25%. And the economic model was developed with an estimated coin price for Zel of $1. It's very hard. Like, I think right now ZelCash, you know, it's still a new coin. It's in about 3 or 4 cents or something. This is something I've talked about with SafeCoin and a few other teams. Just actually defining the minimum requirement for a masternode is very difficult, because, you know, if you, I think
remember watching Safe. I think,
like we, you know, as you know, I kind of help out with the team, the SafeCoin team, and I was talking about this the other day, and people were saying make it 50,000 coins, despite the fact it's got a 36 million total supply. I was saying, yeah, but what happens when the coin is $1 or $5 or something? All of a sudden, you're asking people. You know, like, for huge amounts of money.
Where we plucked that number from, yes, it's a nice round number, and we've had some obnoxious comments like, "Oh, which difficult algorithm did you use to work that one out?" As if we're some sort of, you know, traders that found out that, oh, yeah, it's going to be $1 by the end of the year. No, what we did was look at somewhat similar projects. I think everyone instantly, when they see Zel, thinks, "Oh, what about Zen?" So we looked at something and how Zen's node structure was, and we looked at Dash, we looked at a few other projects. So we announced supernodes, I believe, 2 weeks before Zen did, and then they released their paper. That was interesting. But the concept and the idea sort of came from here, I believe. I know Ethereum has their Ethereum virtual machine, but the idea of and people ask, why are these node requirements so high? People see that, you know, we're acquiring an 8-core. There won't be like an Opteron 8-core from 2012. No, it'll be a 2014 spec or so 8-core Intel. Can't spell the word right now.
The VPS.
No, not VPS. I'm looking for Xeon. There's the word.
Oh, no, yeah, Xeon or Xenon or XEON. Yeah, like a server CPU.
Yeah, server CPU, server grade. You know, that you can expect normal VPS providers to have, and people are asking how we get that. It would be through benchmarks.
Yeah.
So we'll be benchmarking hardware to know that users have got this, and then we'll have virtualization software that will then basically cordon off this sort of hardware requirement. So it says 32 gigs, but we'll probably cordon off about 30 gigs because the host OS needs 2 or 3 gigs for the BAMF node. So what we actually are using these for is for one thing would be the validation of Zel chains. A few interesting ideas. We could actually be hashing with them, or we could be potentially using notarization, sort of like Komodo does, where they back their asset chains with BTC hash rate. But where we see this moving as well is actual computation of, execution of code and problems, so working out and using them for storage and stuff as well. So it's taking the Ethereum virtual machine as it is and sort of expanding it to a much higher grade computational power. So,
and we're actually developing, and I mean, Ethereum's issue is they were the first to market, and really, honestly, their scalability issue is it's a problem, and it may end up costing them quite a bit because they can't scale. So, you know, what we're trying to do is create that scalability built in, and we have the ability to sit back and watch that project and some of the things that they went through to be able to develop our infrastructure. So, I think we're not trying to say that we're the next Ethereum because we're not. I don't think we're the next Ethereum, but I think we're Zel, and I think we're
the next.
We're going to be able, I think, to at least to address those scaling issues and those scaling problems. So
yeah, one thing I want to sort of just jump in. The Ethereum guys are great. Their work is, I'd say, revolutionary in many stages, and I see the potential for them to scale in ways, but I can't see it being this. And I know Vitalik definitely, I think, imagines it as, and I think his ideas have changed slightly as of recent, where he's more open to private chains being run by companies. But it was sort of initially, I want everything to run on this one blockchain. That's what Ethereum, I think, was designed to be. It was designed to be the internet basically redone. So it's struggling with 17 TPS at the minute, I think. I can quote Vitalik saying, Uber does 12 rides per second, and Uber would be a great thing to run as a DAO, actually. I think it'd be an awesome idea if someone made a DAO Uber. But Uber does 12 rides per second. Now, if you want to put Lyft on there as well as a competitor, so you haven't got a monopoly, well, you can't run that. It won't run. There's not enough TPS throughput, and the whole network would be frozen, and it would be expensive as well. So that's what we're feeling we can step in and improve upon for sure. But one thing I don't like to do is throw out TPS numbers without having it running on mainnet like some other projects. Don't want to name any, but a certain biggest ICO in history that was quotes on saying multiple, was it 1 million TPS they were saying, or maybe 100,000, and then on mainnet launch it broke, and then there's this problem, there's that problem. They're not really getting anywhere near 1 million. There's other projects similar to Ethereum that are green and from China. They
well, that's the thing. You can quote
20,000 TPS, but they're not really near that either.
You can quote any transactions per second you want, but it's one thing saying it, it's another thing.
Exactly. That's why I don't like to say anything on other projects bad that's saying, yeah, these guys suck. They haven't actually got the 20,000 TPS. But because I realize how difficult it will be to get there. But I also don't want to say, oh yeah, we'll be able to get 100,000 TPS as confident as I could be, behind closed doors. We can't say that until it's running on a mainnet for multiple months.
I don't think you have to be, though. I mean, at the end of the day, for every project, you need the carrot and the stick. You need something dangling in front of you. You need a goal.
For sure.
You need to work towards something. With it, there's always going to be hiccups along the way. So I don't think that's anything to. You have to be reserved, because if you come out and say anything, quote tomorrow in some cryptocurrency blog is Miles says he can do 100 million TPS or
something ridiculous. Yeah. It's unachievable. And
but is that, you know, the whole asset system or the chain? Is this where you see Zel nodes stepping in? You know, is this going to be a whole part of the?
So what we are, a good way of before was is taking Ethereum and scaling it as best as we can. So it's sort of taking, and Zel sort of is taking from a lot of other projects, and we're sort of trying to do everything on well, like the best it's been done. So we have our different products, ZelPay, we have ZelTrez, we have ZelID, which is an interesting idea. But where we see Zel itself is the ZelDev platform, and Zel chains are taking maybe the concept of side chains and doing them a different way, or taking a bunch of main developer chains and having them work together to fix scalability, running on our node network. So yeah, it's the asset chain, it's the DApp platform, execution of smart contracts, DAOs, etc. DAOs run on smart contracts, which DApps, but yeah, it's aimed to be sort of what Ethereum is currently doing, but in a more scalable manner. I don't want to keep the word scalable. You're going to be careful how you say that. Yeah, the potential to scale greater.
This is the. See, as soon as you start doing videos on YouTube, you do find that there's certain words that you overuse all the time, and when you listen back, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah. You don't realize it until you listen back.
So everyone can keep saying decentralized, decentralized, decentralized. Our big thing is to be decentralized, and that's why we have people ask, well, why do you? Some people keep messaging me to ask. Well, I say messaging. I've had like 5 or 10 messages from 5 or 10 different individuals asking, so why do you guys even bother with ZelCash? You have ZelTrez, it's a great platform, in their quotes, not mine. But, you know, and I say, well, that's not the idea. ZelTrez is one part of what we're doing. It's not our be all and end all, though. Our company wasn't set up to just do ZelTrez. That's one arm. That's its own company, really.
Well, that's the thing. You need to give many different reasons.
Their own companies that are doing their own thing.
Yeah, you need to give many different reasons to use a coin. But it's interesting you're saying that as far as the chain goes and assets and all that, because if you go back to what you were saying earlier with being personal and, you know, every single person in the team, you've met them in real life. I think you're saying, for example, Uber, you know, they could go onto the chain. How does a project like ZelCash or any other cryptocurrency, how do you approach them and how do you sell it to them and say, choose us instead of someone else? I mean,
when I say a decentralized, I don't necessarily mean Uber themselves, but
just as an example.
But we could approach them.
Yeah,
come knock on their main office door. No, I would say once we can prove that our technology is beneficial to them. I mean, my vision for would be a really awesome implementation of an Uber-like, I'll say, application. Would be for the drivers to have voting rights and decisions, and it to be completely, I don't know if I use the word, actual decentralized autonomous organization that has its drivers decide on how the company moves forward and what it does and what it spends resources on. That's where I would see an Uber-like company would be really cool. But how we would approach Uber, if it makes financial sense for them to run on Zel, then I wouldn't see why they wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
So
no, I find this whole subject interesting because I think over the next few years there's a lot of great projects, but I think what's going to separate the ones that succeed and the ones that don't are the ones that actually go out to in the real world and make partnerships and make, you know, actual business relationships and go out there.
Definitely going to be. I
mean, you could have the best technology. You could have the best technology in the world. But
but where Zel is different to a lot of coins, we have the community base, but we're a business as well. So it's sort of like a Zco and Zcash Foundation kind of relationship, where the Zcash Foundation does grants, it lobbies, it sort of tries to make decisions, but really the actual development comes down to Zico, I believe. Now, I don't want to be quoted as saying that that's exactly how their company runs. I don't know, but that's sort of the feeling, I believe. Daniel probably knows more than I do about that situation. But it's sort of that sort of relationship where we have our community base, but we are the business, and we are going to be moving in that direction, reaching out to hopefully real world partnerships, potentially like, and who knows down the line.
Well, that's good. That's how it's it's good having people like Daniel in the team, people with years of experience in business.
Yeah, we have more legal advisors and advisors in general than we actually have marketing people. We have basically no marketing.
We did that by design too.
Exactly.
That was something that
it's more, and it's the same thing with developers. Is to have as many developers as possible and have as many advisors that can help guide the project in the right direction. So
I think marketing is a funny thing in the cryptocurrency world, because so much of the market is driven by hype and news and things like that.
That's actually funny. In our Discord the last few weeks, people have been saying slow down, because we could bundle what we do like these other projects, so they hype up a massive release, right? We could have left ZelTrez how it was. We could release a coin update every 2 weeks, because the original update plan was 2 weeks. We're having to like hold ourselves back not to do it every 3 days at this point, because we want to get these new features out there. Yes, we could hold it back and have a massive release where we completely change it. Instead of calling it ZelCash, we call it ZelTrez. We call it ZelTrez V2. But we'd rather just push updates regularly instead of hyping stuff up for now. And I guess it's a good marketing model. It works for some people. I mean, some points are doing pre-announcements of announcements at this point, right? And pre-announcements of pre-announcements of announcements.
Yeah, that was who was that? That was Verge that did that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they pre-announced the pre-announcement of their announcement, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. So, and then when the actual partnership was announced, it tanked.
Yeah, well, it's one way of marketing. It's one way of running a business, but we don't want to be built off hype. We want to build off, and it's a successful way sometimes in crypto. But our sort of approach currently is build the tech and they'll come, kind of. Yeah. So we focus our resources. Yeah, slow and steady. We focus our resources on our developers, on our legal structure, making sure that maybe where we see a lot of, I'd say, growth could be in the next sort of surge of institutional money and money in general into crypto, where the actual ZelCash price can see going up. Because if we're prepared as a good project that's working, already got working tech, new tech coming out, then I would see from a miner's point of view why it would be useful, or why ZelCash could be interested to them, right? Why it could be interesting to them is the tech we already build, and then how we're going to keep moving forward. So where I'm going with this tangent is, we don't focus on marketing. We rather focus on our business structure and our developers.
I think the way I see it, I think over time, hype dies out, and it should, in theory, come down to functionality, features, and all that. But in the short term, hype can dump a coin and all that. But you do see a lot of coins, and when you look at the graph of the price, it's a roller coaster. It's up and down.
Some of them,
and it's it doesn't exactly instill confidence in an investor or anyone just wanting to get involved in the project. It
almost looks like Facebook a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, anytime you deal with disruptive technology like we have now, you're going to see early on some of that market manipulation, some of those. I mean, even the market as a whole. We all know Bitcoin drives the alt market, and if Bitcoin is suffering, our project suffers as well, and and the value of our project suffers, and to the point where we are able to decouple from that. So, and when I say decouple, not decouple in the sense that the BTC value to what, let's say, Zel is, but what the project is decoupled from the value of what BTC is to Zel. So at some point, these business models are going to mature to, just like in the business world, to the point where they become valuable outside of themselves, outside of the crypto. And that's where ZelCash was very unique, because there's every intention that the boarding process will eventually be, for ZelTrez, will be ZelCash. So the pairings on the DEX will be in Zel. There'll be these you know, but eventually, as the space kind of.
Oh, we've lost him. Hotel
I think
Wi-Fi.
we've lost Daniel. Is that the Wi-Fi internet?
That's hotel Wi-Fi right there.
Yeah.
Almost as good as plain Wi-Fi. That's a horrible. Have you been to the States the last few months?
No, I've not been in the States for a few years actually.
Oh, okay. So I'm back and forth quite a bit nowadays, and the 9 hours you have to endure of you have internet, we promise, but nothing actually loads, and you paid your $30 for it is brilliant.
The fact that hotels even charge you for Wi-Fi is ridiculous.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
To go back to the white paper, go off on a tangent what Daniel was talking there, but well, I guess it ties into that as far as businesses. He was making a good point there about when ZelCash is matured, it won't just be valued as a cryptocurrency; it'll be valued as a business. How does ZelPay, kind of tie into that? I'm just looking at the white paper there, and looking at it offers NFC, QR codes, and all that. Welcome back, Daniel.
Sorry about that bad internet.
No, that's okay. I was just saying to Miles there. It's kind of a sidestep from what you were talking there, but I guess it's ties in with ZelCash as a business. I was just in the white paper. You've got a big section that talks about ZelPay, and it talks about NFC, QR codes, and all this. Can you tell us more about where you see ZelPay, being over the next 6 months, over the next year or two? What's the
Sure.
what's the idea?
Some of the ideas with ZelPay is to give businesses a incentive and reason to actually accept crypto and sort of start to get to know Zel as well. So we're going to build a suite of applications that are not only payment processors and plugins for stuff like WordPress and website checkouts, right? So Magneto, Shop, the big one.
There's Joomla, there's Drupal. Are you talking about online shopping ones?
I'm talking about plugins. Oh dear.
Talk about
anyway,
CMSs.
Payment processing plugins.
Yeah. WooCommerce is probably the biggest one for WordPress.
WooCommerce, that's the blue one. That's the one I'm thinking of, stuck in my head.
Yeah.
The big W.
It used to be WooCommerce.
Yeah, so WooCommerce plugins, that kind of stuff, but also in-store. So an interesting thing would be taking a payment processing terminal that they have in-store, so a POS system in-store, and updating that firmware and being able to accept crypto through there. And then offering, a big thing with ZelPay will be to offer users or businesses to implement it access to better statistical information of how their businesses ran and how they could improve, their peak times. And then another thing, and the demo I've used in the white paper, talking about the employee-less shops. They really can be employee-less, and if you have a fast payment processor that doesn't cost you, if you're in a foreign country, multiple dollars, or doesn't take away from the business 3.5%, it would be brilliant. So we can use NFC tech. The examples I used is a bunch of terms and names and things. So RFID stickers, it's already existing in China where they have these little stickers that cost a couple cents. They have them on a product, and then when the user walks into the shop, they scan a QR code, or they could use NFC. When they're in the shop, it's closed, and then the RFID sensors on the doors and at the checkout can see what products have been taken, and if they haven't paid for it, the door doesn't unlock. If they try and break out, the police is called.
Right.
Or they can pay for their product, and it sort of gives businesses a.
There was a store in the news about that kind of thing, wasn't there? Was that Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon are doing it in the States, but they already have this in China. This already exists in China, where they have.
It's already been used.
Yeah, they already have this, except from it's using. I think WeChat actually is used to pay. I think WeChat has a pay feature. So in China, WeChat. Is
that like the messaging thing? Is that?
Yeah, WeChat, their main social media. They have a payment process through that, I believe, or something similar. So that's how it's currently done. But where I see ZelPay is offering businesses feeless acceptance and feeless transactions, or there's the 1% fee. We'll have to see the business model it would develop. But it's access to better analytics, it's access to better integration, And who knows? One thing I think would be interesting is rethinking how we actually have fiat in the crypto ecosystem. So the big thing is USDT, right?
Yeah.
The interesting thing with USDT, as we found out, is we may or may not be it's public knowledge, isn't it? So we're adding USDT to ZelTrez, right? We're looking at these exchanges when we were testing it today. They're taking like $5 for a transaction. It's ridiculous. So with our asset chains, we could potentially offer something similar to USDT that is backed 1-to-1 by a dollar. It's just an idea I'm going off here, but that is feeless, and then you offer that to a business. Why would they not accept it?
To play devil's advocate,
go ahead.
You know, obviously, you know, I've seen a lot of news with Visa and MasterCard advertising for blockchain engineers and all that. I don't think these large institutions are going to go down without a fight. But
they can fight, and they have a lot of money to fight with. But
yeah, but I'm just curious, like, how are Visa and MasterCard going to live in a world where we can essentially bypass what they're for? I know they offer different things.
Because I believe they're probably, I mean, and you can see, I believe it was MasterCard that is already looking for a patent on a escrow-based cryptocurrency fund. So essentially, whether you use your Bitcoin or you use your MasterCard in fiat, it's settling in this fund that's out there. So you get the transactional benefit of MasterCard. You get the ability to hold your crypto. Yeah. and maintain it, and it's not unlike what Coinbase does with a Shift card. So the Shift card actually, whether you're using, and I think it only works with Bitcoin, but I think they're going to eventually do it for Litecoin as well. So if I swipe it and buy a cup of coffee, it just takes it right off my Bitcoin, but it converts it to the fiat amount. And I don't think fiat goes away. But what I do see is the technology continuing to mature to where you start to include fiat in the process. So, and you're not as heavily dependent in any one particular area on the fiat, like we found out in Greece, like we found out in some of these other countries where the fiat, the inflation was absolutely astronomical. So, you know, I think what it does is it creates another option for those who would like to use cryptocurrency. My wife goes to the ATM and she puts the card into the ATM and she puts her PIN in and she takes her cash out and she puts it in her pocket. She walks away. She doesn't think of the underlying technology and all the transactions and all the validations that went back and TPS or whatever. It all happened on the backside.
Yeah.
She just got her money.
Where I would say Visa, just sort of counter your point of they're not going to go down without a fight. They're there to make money off this.
Oh yeah, of course.
What they do, so they can add blockchain as a hype, and I think IBM announced, we saved hundreds of hours or whatever, or no, it was like $10 billion or something like that. Again, don't quote me, I haven't got that number correct. They saved a bunch of money, right, by implementing something on blockchain. It's cool and all to use that as hype and to say we're now looking at blockchain. I think everyone on the stock market at some point was doing that, So it's actually taking something, and where I can see ZelPay is it could be feeless, and it would be fine for us for it to be feeless, because it would just be one chain out of the hundreds, if not thousands, that we would be running, tens of thousands. So.
And this goes back to what you were saying about scalability, to say that name again. But yeah it's
it comes down to where Visa card and the two of them combined together. Where MasterCard and Visa, sleep deprivation, what it does to you, where they fall short. This is their main business, I believe anyway, is payment processing for a fee. So when you can do payment processing at a higher TPS than them without a fee.
Oh, it's the same with PayPal. PayPal's another good example of that as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they've been stung because they're not. I don't think they're the official payment provider for eBay anymore, are they? I think they've split up.
I don't like PayPal as a personal note. That public.
I've used it for years. It's one of those things. I still use it occasionally because I bought. Here's an example. Actually, I bought this phone from China. And it arrived, and it's got a mark underneath the camera sensor. And they replied, "Oh, what's wrong with it?" And then they just stopped replying. And this is where PayPal kicks in and says, all right, okay, we'll find it for you.
Well, that's the difference between the PayPal and something like crypto.
Yeah.
It's gonna, unless you build a platform where ZelPay could be an escrow. I think that's difficult to do. You have to have people making those decisions, so it has to be a company side thing. So yeah, it can't be, I guess, unless we get to a point of machine learning and here's another good hype word, AI, deciding what's fraudulent and what's not on, for example, eBay transaction. Then yeah, I guess PayPal has a place for now.
Well, I think what you're going to see is in the past we have utilized fiat currency because that was the necessity. Yeah. So I think what we're going to see is currency as a choice, and I believe if you want the security and also you have to pay the fee that comes with the security. I think you'll see continue using PayPal, continue using these secondary applications, but currency as a choice meaning just that you have the ability to take the risk and control it yourself. And that's okay too. So you can settle for Bitcoin or you can settle for Litecoin, but you also assume the responsibilities if it all goes wrong. So, and that's something different. That's a different paradigm than what we've ever been accustomed to, at least in my generation and the generation before and the generation after. They're starting to see it with crypto a little bit, but currency as a choice is something that's it's mind blowing. So
yeah, it's not somewhere. I mean, we're at the forefront of technology. I don't think we've ever been in a position where we can choose what currency we use. We've normally had to be forced to use whatever currency that we have to use. Be it
we have a 16-year-old right sat here that's created a currency, quote unquote. What sort of world is that?
Yeah, I know, it's true.
You start questioning, why is currency worth what it is? Why is a bit of cotton paper we promise it's worth this much? Why is that given value? Because that one cotton paper, there used to be 1 billion cotton papers. Now there are 2 billion cotton papers, but it's worth the same. The economy hasn't changed. There's nothing more backing it. So we're changing really the way that currency is, I want to say, understood as, sort of, and where it moves. So,
well, I mean, this could be a hot topic over the next year or so in the UK with Brexit and all that. I think not to say the general population is sheep, but I think the general population don't think about currency in the way that in the way that we're talking about just now. I remember when, following the Brexit thing, I think the price of the pound dropped with the dollar. It was something crazy in the first day. I was in Vienna at the time, actually, and I remember overnight lifting 300 euros cost me £30 more.
Wow.
Or whatever it was insane.
Yeah.
But no, I remember it was like 6 months later, they did a news report in the BBC, and they were saying the industry is up 0.25%, but they're forgetting that the strength of the pound against the currencies around the world went down by, your actual spending power went down by a huge amount. I do think politically and all this, cryptocurrency is going to be a hot topic over the next few years. But it's interesting the ideas you guys have with ZelPay and all that. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's all going to be implemented.
Yes. So the one thing with ZelPay is sort of on the main thing we're focusing right now is ZelTrez and bringing that forward as we can see it as both a nice platform for us to develop. Daniel, do you want to jump?
Yeah, Kevin, I appreciate the opportunity. I have another commitment that I have to attend to, but
no,
thanks for having us.
Daniel. Anytime, Daniel. Looking forward to speaking to you in the future.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
See you, Dan. It's been cool, Dan. So what are we talking about? ZelPay. So ZelPay is sort of currently on the back burner for us for now. The idea is developing, but the actual any code being written for it sort of halted, and it's because we're focusing solely on ZelTrez and getting it on mobile for now, actually. So we're going to be having ZelTrez on iOS and Android. Tentative date. I mean, we need to start writing code for it because we can use a lot of what we already have on the desktop, but it's just a UI thing, and UI design on mobile is so much more important than it is on desktop.
Oh yeah.
And you know, none of us went to university. If you need to for UI design,
so it wasn't a thing. You know, go back a few years, it wasn't. I'm sure there's lots of courses.
Well, it's even less now, isn't it? Really, as well, because we've got. For me, I sort of finished I finished my formal education at 16.
Right.
So where that sort of moves forward, and where I see a lot of my you know, friends from school, and where their sort of opinion is, a lot of them actually aren't even going. A lot of them are doing A levels in sixth form, but I'd say where it used to be something like, you know, 80% or 75% of people would go to university, especially in the sort of school I went to.
Yeah,
I went to a private school. I was lucky my parents you know, forked up the extra money for one. The actual majority now is not going to university, which is quite interesting. And it could be one, rebellious teenagers, but it could also be.
I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a good thing, because I'm struggling to see the benefits of it for myself, at least, and I think a lot of my.
Well, I mean, I'm a strong believer in education. You know, I know we're going off topic here, but
we're completely off attention now.
No, that's okay. I do believe it. You know, I went to university at 17. I did mathematics, and I did it because, you know, I was getting good grades at maths, and that's what they suggested.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, I've never used anything in my mathematics degree. I've never used anything. I did a postgrad later on as well in software development. Never used anything like that either. And yes, I had fun. You know, a lot of fun with my friends.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. But
is it like 30, 40, 50,000 pounds worth of fun?
Well, luckily, you know, I got a grant. I got education was free, and I got a grant for going. I mean, I still worked like 5 days a time. But in hindsight, I wish I just went to Spain or a foreign country, worked in a bar for 2-3 years and learned the language, and had some sort of skill that serves me my whole life, instead of just, oh, you can work in an office. You know, it's like,
well, that's,
or even just learning a trade or mechanic or something. Something, you know,
exactly.
something that
you're more. You sound very. I guess I don't want to age you, but do you mind saying how old you are?
I'm 39 now.
You're 39, so you're roughly the same age as my mother. She's a little older than you, but she's from Russia, actually. So I speak Russian fluently. Lucky for me, don't need to worry about the second language thing.
That's very good.
But she went down the university route, and she was a straight A student at school, and then she you know, did London. So she was at Saratov University, and then she went and did Cambridge Ruskin English language and something else, and then she also did business law with business at London Law Institute, I believe. So she took the university route, and I was having a discussion with her, saying, well, I've got a lot of skills that I've sort of self-taught, that I've, you know, the way you learn, the way you become a developer is by taking some code, you know, classic off GitHub, and being like, what if I change this, what happens? If I change that, what happens? Now let me change this and this, and then my own thing. So that's sort of
that's how I learned HTML as well, just coding on Notepad and just
with it.
Yeah. But yeah, so, it's an interesting thing you're saying that about friends. You know, I've one of my friends, Michael. He's pretty much a sound engineer. He's a mechanic. He's fixed up his whole house, and he's never trained for any of it. And on paper, he probably isn't, you know, seen as someone being intelligent, and yet in many respects, he's one of the most intelligent guys I know, because he can do anything.
That's the same thing. Yeah,
you know,
that would be the same thing as then my dad, where I was going. Yeah, so my dad, he's got the opposite. He left school at 16 and didn't do uni. He was into engineering. So him and his mates, what they would do would be buying and fixing up cars and flipping them, selling them. That's how he started in life. Then he did go to college to become a RAF engineer. And but again, on paper, he wouldn't be, you know, just a smart guy. But now, and how he's done it in life, he came from very little to being able to send both his kids to a private school, which we're very grateful for. And he works his ass off. You know, the man's 65 and still working. So it's definitely, the times have changed from, I've got this little bit of paper and it means I'm this and that, and here's some letters after my name. Times have definitely changed.
Yeah.
Times have definitely changed.
Yeah, and this is, I've faced that myself as well. Basically, I came out of university at 20, and I started building websites. And I remember I went into financial services, and again, we're off tangent here. I went into financial services a year later or so, and I remember I was going out with a girl at the time, and you know, I had like 12, 15 websites. I was just creating little content websites and keeping them online. But I couldn't find a job with it because I didn't have a bit of paper doing it. And the girl that I was seeing went on I think it was over 2 weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and she did a Microsoft, was it front, what do you used to call that? Is it front page or it's like one of the drag and drop. I can't even remember what it used to be called. But because I had never used the application, but basically she walked right in a very high paying web design job and she couldn't do anything, where I was doing everything, coding from scratch and learning everything, but I had nothing on paper to prove that I could do it. Yeah. But I think that, you know, the whole job world,
it's changing, especially in development. It's more of what have you done by yourself rather than what does your paper say you can do. Yeah. So, but education's important, and you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When I have children, I'll definitely make sure that go to university or, you know, whatever works for you. But
I think developing your own cryptocurrency at 16 looks better on a CV than, you know,
it's that's how I managed to persuade my parents. Was sort of like, because I think someone's just written in comments 16 that he's done.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. We have been ignoring the comments.
Sorry, I've got comments here. I want to go through them at the end, probably.
Yeah. It's always, I always find it hard to look at comments when there's 3 or 4 people in the conversation because, you know, just the way it flows. It's a little bit easier for just the 2 of us.
Oh, I think I've lost internet. Oh no,
No, you're okay.
Okay. Okay, cool.
To go back to ZelCash, what's, you know, we talked about that. Obviously, we're touching upon the whole ASIC mining thing, and you know, you were saying that 1445 there might be an ASIC mining machine. That was something in the past. If you look back in, you know, May when it was announced, there, everyone, well, not every project, but a lot of projects like, right, we need to stop what we're doing and change that. And we were talking about this earlier before we started streaming live, that it's a game of cat and mouse. But if we forget about that for a second, what's the priority next 3 months? You know, we've talked about Zel nodes and all that, and it is hard because you know, you've got a lot of things in your white paper. It's good to see that you're developing lots of things, but obviously certain things have to become a priority as far as the wallet or Zel nodes or the chain, etc. So what do you think is the priority just now?
Right now, sort of going by the roadmap, it's mobile ZelTrez. That's what we're focusing our main resources on. And it's something I can disclose, but we're working on expanding the team so that we can work on simultaneous projects at once. Because right now we're having to go one at a time,
kind of linear fashion.
Yeah, so we want to sort of expand the team so that we're able to move in that direction. And we have some volunteer developers, but it's difficult to keep them on board because we don't want to be selling the dev fund, because it's sort of, I find it is unfair. We want to keep that as intact as possible. One of the things I was really supposing would be, it'd be nice to actually donate the dev fund at some point as grants to allow other startups in the future, rather than burn it on our development if we can afford to do so while still keeping up with time. The next thing after ZelTrez Mobile would be Zel nodes, and moving from there, it would be the development of the ZelDev platform internally to then use for ZelDex and then releasing it. And then on the side of that, we're hoping to sidebar we'll have ZelID and ZelPay as well. So Zel nodes is sort of the next thing after mobile ZelTrez.
See that, to go back to mobile ZelTrez, would this be a single login for the desktop and the mobile client?
So how user accounts are, how we use them, how we generate them, and how they work. Exodus, I believe, stores user information because they then end up emailing back your recovery to you somehow, which I don't find that very secure in any way, immediate form. They're emailing
unless you've got like 2FA for your Google account or something like that, and using like a YubiKey or something. 2FA is as
good as 2FA is,
but
it's why a lot of people ask for 2FA, but it's not actually that great. I don't want to go into depth because I haven't got paper research in front of me right now to go through the points, but I could do a talk on why 2FA isn't that brilliant. But where I'm going with that is our accounts and how ZelTrez is secured. Everything's encrypted, that's stored locally. And then how lightweight works. Your private key is generated from the username and password. That's how your private key is generated. So you've got one private key for everything for now anyway, until we add other coins that decide that they have a different way of generating private keys, which is fun. There's some blockchains written out there in PHP, Java, so it'll be interesting to see how those actually function. But and then the full node is also protected and encrypted with the same account information. So you can actually, when you log on a new computer, you download ZelTrez, you can click create account the first time. You type in the same exact account credentials, so username and password, same case sensitive, and then you can log in and you'll have your lightweight funds there. So it'll be the same on mobile. Obviously mobile will only be lightweight.
So there's no kind of like, you don't have to transfer a file or transfer a key or nothing like that?
No, and we don't store any user information. So you don't connect to our servers to do so. You're connected because we have to run servers for some coins. So some coins aren't able to afford to run a Bitcoin node themselves. For a while, I know one project we're talking to about getting them integrated. So I believe it's public knowledge, so I can disclose that Exodus asked them to set up a server setup of multiple hundreds of dollars. We're talking like $200 or $300 worth of servers, I think. And Exodus weren't running the servers themselves, the coin project was, but they gave them free integration. So how we take the approach differently, for those sort of projects that can't afford to run server infrastructure or aren't confident with it, or their Bitcoin integration isn't quite right, Tadesh is a specialist in Bitcoin integration as far as I've seen. He's great at it. He does a good job. He integrated Bitcoin correctly for Komodo, I believe. He's also had to fix it for us for when it was done for SafeCoin, I believe, as well. It wasn't SafeCoin's fault. It was done wrongly on Komodo as well, but then it's Komodo's fault. Anyway, where I'm going with this, he's great at Bitcoin and getting it working properly for us. So we are our big cost, and the only thing that we do have servers for are Bitcoin nodes. So we run Bitcoin nodes that ZelTrez uses for some coins and doesn't for others. And but private keys and users logins and passwords, that's all stored not by us, not by anybody. It's through encryption and how that works. So maths is stored.
No, that's interesting though. I mean, I guess it goes back to what we're saying about being user friendly. Because I think most of the coins that I've seen, if they do offer a desktop or a light client or a mobile client, usually 3 separate things, and you need to basically get your get your private keys, and you need to transfer it and sync it again, essentially.
Yeah, so the way we're going to have it for mobile, it will be just lightweight, and then the exchanges and some of the apps. And
right, that's
will
interesting.
be there as well. But it will be the same login, and you can have multiple logins, multiple user logins. So same as it is on desktop. So
that's interesting. So after that, I think if I jump over to the roadmap, you've got October for Zel nodes. Someone was asking there, Terry B was asking about any date for the Zel nodes. You've got October.
We have October set. It'll be towards the end of October, going into November. Yeah. So there's the potential discussion going on at the minute where do we end up, some people were talking about it, do you end up delaying them to allow the crypto sort of sphere to grow a little bit? Because people are saying how, oh, they're so cheap, and I can't actually run a Zel node on this infrastructure for some people, they're saying. I think you can, even at the current price, if you really needed to sell the Zel you were paid for running a Zel BAMF node, for example, to pay off the VPS cost.
Yeah.
But some people are saying mining is actually more profitable for me because my electricity is cheaper. So we need to find the balance.
Someone brought this up the other day as well, that if you make the minimum restriction too low, then you're not even going to cover the cost of a VPS because
exactly,
the price of the coin is too low. And yeah,
so that's
I mean,
the
personally,
problem.
because even at $5, you think I could just buy $5 of coins and it's worth more than whatever I get in the block reward.
Yeah.
But I mean, in theory, though, I mean, do you think, in theory, demand and these kind of things should push the price up so that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think because we're not a masternode coin, that's why I don't like using the term masternode. We're Zel nodes. We are using them in a different way to how masternodes are used by a lot of projects, and that's why I say Zen would call theirs secure nodes, because they are being used in a different way than masternode coins are. It's not purely for transactional, increasing in transactional capabilities. It's doing these other tasks. So yeah, it could be released in October. It just depends what sort of makes sense, and if we want to release things before then, Zel pay Zel business, or if we want to go ahead and release Zel nodes in October. So I would say this year though is definitely the aim.
That's good. I mean, for anyone watching just now, that gives them a couple of months as well to accumulate some coins for it. I don't, because I don't think, you know, looking at your white paper, I don't think the requirement is that high, really. You know, if you look at, I think at the current prices.
Well, no, I did a test myself. So I went out. So I sold my GPU. I was mining with GPUs. End of 2016 going to 2017, I got myself. So before then, I was building computers for money. So I had a little eBay thing where I was buying and selling computers. Made quite a nice amount on it, really, but it was tiresome. And I knew about crypto at the time, but I really wanted to make sure I deep dived into it. So what I did was sell off all the computer hardware I had left and some of the profit I had, and I went out and got 100 1060s. It was like 110 GTX 1060, 3 gig, the wonderful pallets you have behind you, I believe.
Yeah. The cheapest 1060s at the time.
The cheapest 1060s. I still have my distributor account with a PC part supplier, so I got them at quite a nice price. That was good. So I got them running, and they paid themselves off. 2017 was a crazy year because by the time I sold them in May this year, they had paid themselves off. I want to say 10x at least. Never mind them what I sold them for. So I mined a few different things. You know,
it's obviously, you know, as far as GPU mining goes, a very different climate today as far as getting a return.
Yeah, but what I did though was, as we were announcing Zelda numbers, I wanted to see how realistic the lowest tier was, the highest tier. So I went out and got 2 rigs. I can send some pictures somewhere if people want them. But I got myself 2 little rigs and server cases that I built that are running 6 1070 Ti's. I got them as efficient as I could, what a normal miner would want to do, the highest sol per watt. And I just left them. Hold on one second. Okay. I left them running there and didn't touch them for a couple months. And I think I set them up before I went to the States. That would have been around June, July-ish, I think. And I left them now. So they've been running maybe 2 months, maybe 2.5. And 1 rig has been on Zell, 1 rig's been on a different project to do some tests and messing around with different algorithms and stuff and how they run for miners, because that's what we were doing. We were trying to see, is X16R that great? Does it really screw people over? What about 144.5? Does it run better? What about 192.7? But anyway, I left this rig running, and it's a normal run-of-the-mill rig. It cost me about 2.7k British, so that's like maybe 3.4 US. It's mined a Zell node worth.
Right.
It's mined 1 Zell node worth in 2 and a bit months, and that's sort of what I would say would be a run-of-the-mill miner setup. You know, it's 6 1070 Ti's in that 1 rig. So
yeah, for me, I think I had a quick look at the I can't remember which calculator. I just typed in ZelCash calculator.
Did it come up though? That's nice.
Yeah, it did come up. Yeah, I think for my setup, I've got about 850 in the latest EWBF. So I've got 850 mega hashes, and I was seeing at the current rate. I think, in a bit. That's what, sorry?
I think you double me in a bit.
All right. I think it was saying about 600 per day just now. So yeah, that's not long. A couple, that wouldn't be long at all. Like 2 weeks or so, I'd probably get enough for a basic one. And obviously, I can still move some coins around as well. I think at current prices, looking at your nodes, you're talking, let me see, about $300, $750, and maybe $3,000 for the top one. Ballpark.
Yeah, it's very cheap when you compare it to other projects. So that $1.
Some of the newest ones are 0.2 Bitcoin for a coin that's only been launched 1 day.
And what do these masternodes do?
Yeah,
they give us quick transactions and confirmation. That's wonderful, guys. Good job. Well done.
Yeah.
What's different from Dash and the one before and the other one that you copied?
Well, we were talking about that the other day in the SafeCoin live stream we did, and Jeff was talking about that, how basically the miners do all the work, and then the masternodes, you know, so if some of these coins have a 25% to miner to 75% to masternode split, all the miners do all the work and actually find the blocks, and then all the reward goes to the masternode holders. It's kind of backwards the way they've got it. But as far as actually getting a Zell node, yeah, it's definitely in the lower end, which is good. But obviously that can change in a few months.
It can change, and it's what we're sat at thinking. We want people to care about these. That's why we have the high VPS requirements, because people have to front up quite a bit to actually end up, because we need them. We need them to run the network. We need this thing to actually, for Zell dev to actually work, it needs to have the Zell nodes actually working. And a question we had, and I think is a good point to bring up. So we have the dev fund. It's sat at exactly, I think, like 11,000,000.0333 or something. So the dev fund's at 11 million. People were asking, what's stopping you guys from going and running basically all the BAMPs on the network? Okay, and what have I lost you?
Oh, no. Sorry, I was just moving my mic.
Oh, you're frozen completely. So I was like, this.
Oh, man, had I?
Got such great control. It might be my end though. I have bad internet. But because I'm all over the place moving. But basically, talking about the dev fund. The dev fund, it wouldn't be used for hosting any nodes if possible. And if we absolutely need to, we're going to try and keep it under 15% of all the nodes that are running. Yeah. It's the time we'd use the dev fund to run a Zel node, Zel supernode, Zel BAMF node would be to make sure that any dApps, so for example, Zeldex, can still function after it's released.
Yeah, so mostly for testing purposes.
Until price goes up and people decide, oh, that's now incentive enough for me to own. Because the real reason ZelCash exists is to be an incentive for node ownership. Yes, it can be used for currency, but we have other ideas, so asset chains, Zel chains, as they are, to run on the Zel nodes that I would say could be better currencies. So ZelCash will have a place. It'll be a pairing on the DEX. It'll have a place in other applications, and now it will be our currency. But maybe down the road, there's a one-to-one swap for something that is a pure asset chain, for example. So ZelCash holders get pure asset chain.
But for the moment, ZelCash, obviously, that's what that's what you need to put up to get one of those nodes. Yeah.
So it's taking the Dash idea, as classic as it is, to be an incentivized network. So it's incentive for node ownership, and that's why.
Yeah, so it's clear you're trying to think of the bigger picture of just building a secure network, and ZelCash just happening to be the currency for that until it's set up. It's interesting, but see, as far as what you're saying about the development fund, I mean, this is something that's probably not talked about a lot, but I imagine it must be hard for teams with a pre-mine, because you want the best developers, but you don't want to spend all your money from the pre-mine. But also,
that's why we need.
If you ask people to volunteer, you need the people who volunteer. Well, you kind of need them to have some sort of investment in ZelCash, as in they've mined a lot or they've bought a lot.
Yeah.
You need
some sort of incentive to work for free. Yeah, the original thing we were doing. So I had quite enough of a financial backing myself from my previous escapades in the world, and I was able to sort of financially support Zel for quite a while, and I still am able to. You know, we've got a trip over to the US. We're at CryptoCoinCon. Anyone in the Philadelphia area want to come see us? We have a live meetup there. People can come chat to me and the rest of the team in person. Then I'm also talking at the event.
When's that? Sorry.
That is, I believe, the either the 17th, the 18th, and the 19th. I can send you a link to CryptoCoinCon.
When's that, soon or?
August, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, it's very soon.
Yeah, August 18th, 19th. If my internet's quite slow at the second, I'm just going to try and get the link for you, and I'll send it over to you. What's easiest?
You can. If you send me on Twitter, I can add it to the YouTube description so that people know about it as well.
Sure. So we're gonna get a little bar / I can't be in a bar, so a restaurant. Yeah, it's gonna be a problem, isn't it? But it's in 10 days time. So August 18th, the day before on the 17th, I believe there's a meetup, or maybe on the 18th. I haven't organized this. This was done by Daniel and some other people. So
hello.
Sorry. Yeah. So this is gonna be a talk that we're gonna be at. Where are we going? Why did we end up talking about this? What was the topic?
No, I was talking about the developers the pre-mine, and you know, if you look at a lot of coins, most of the team is working for free. I know, I spoke to ZenCash before, and you know, they're set up that they try and pay developers, and then you've got other teams as well. They've got a fund where they can pay developers, but I think if you want anyone to contribute to the team.
Oh yeah, that's where I was going with this. Sorry.
Yeah, you do need them to have.
What we did initially was, before I used any of the dev fund, I used my mine Zel first to pay people. So I mined like 200k Zel with my farm in the first few weeks, and I was using that to pay team members, and you know, people need food to eat, right? They can't just for free. So a couple of us are on full time. So that was the initial thing. Then I was currently I'm paying people in fiat that I have without selling the dev fund for now. But it's getting to the point where that's why we're focusing on ZelTrez, is because it is really our own profit generation source is ZelTrez and the listings for now anyway.
Yeah.
So we don't charge a transaction fee. We don't, because I believe there's a couple of wallets out there that have a hidden transaction fee. We don't do that. We just, it's pure network fee. And then the only time we make any money off ZelTrez for now is off coin listings. For now,
make
anyway.
any money from Changeling Shapeshift as well?
There's the affiliate link, but we're sort of still, because we only added them a couple of days back, we're still working through that process of approval for it.
Ah, right,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
because I know certain services use them. I think, was it the Economy app? I think they integrate it, but then they get a small percentage of whatever the transaction fee is. I believe so. I'd have to check that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, with the point going, so yeah, that's how that is. We're trying to avoid selling the dev fund as much as possible. We're trying to generate profit that is from ZelTrez to pay and to maintain any infrastructure costs.
Yeah, to make it self-sustainable.
Exactly, and then Zeldex will help us. There'll obviously be fees on that.
Yeah, it's kind of
our aim is this will be an interesting thing to talk about Zeldex. Again, all wonderful. It's theoretical until it's released, but you look at something like a certain how do I put this without naming them? An exchange that is named after some infrastructure that happens to have crypto in the name. So their exchange is, I'd say, the best decentralized exchange just currently out there, because Barterdex is cool. They've got cool tech. Yeah. But is it usable for a non-crypto head or geek? It's quite difficult for your average user to use Barterdex. So CryptoBridge sort of fixes some of those problems. I just said it. But we're aiming to run a decentralized exchange that functions somewhat like the centralized exchanges in their exchanges per second. So it should be an usable DEX for once that hasn't got a like. Have you ever used CryptoBridge and had like a 5,000?
I wasn't. I think I joined up at the wrong time. I signed up about a month or so ago to do some trades, and it basically was down for a week almost. That you know, I wasn't impressed, but I think I was maybe it was bad timing. I mean, I think every exchange goes through scalability. That word again. I think every exchange goes through.
They only have a few nodes. That's the problem, right? So that's where our node infrastructure can sort of solve. We should be able to have much lower pings, much higher exchange per second.
So the idea would be to get the Zel nodes out, and then once you've got the network and you've got it all, you know, set up, and you've got a lot of nodes out there, then you would start building the Zeldex. Is that
so
built on the top of that?
Yeah, basically ZelCash holds a very central point in the whole ecosystem, because without ZelCash being an incentive, because that's what it is designed to be, it's designed to be an incentive. Same as Ethereum is designed to be an incentive for miners. It's the same thing. So without Zel being so, and it goes back to the question of people, why should I buy Zel? Why should I, have any? It is the same concept of why would you want to have any Ethereum? Why would you want to have any Lisk, potentially, any Neo, any other crypto? It holds a central role to a lot of what we do, and it enables us to do a lot more. And naturally, it would grow with what we do as there's more demand. A lot of people say, now, I'm no financial advisor. Don't take that as financial advice. But
asterisks, got a little asterisks up there.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've got that at the bottom of your description, don't you? But none of this is financial advice, everybody.
Yeah.
but no, what ZelCash really enables us to do is to create this ecosystem around it. So it's the central point for that. So Zeldex will come with Zel nodes. Zel nodes is only able to happen because of ZelCash.
But I think you're doing it the right way, because you're trying to think of getting the network set up before you launch anything, that's supported by it. That does make sense. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing how that works. You know, decentralized. There's a few coins talking about decentralized exchanges. I still think there's not one that's been done right in my eyes, but maybe I'm being critical.
Well, that's what we're aiming to do. So
yeah,
we're aiming to do a lot of things. And a lot of people say, wow, you guys have a lot of stuff on your agenda. You're going to hit all those targets. I'm confident we will, otherwise I wouldn't put them down. So we're a hardworking group of guys, and we get down to it. And I put a tweet out the other day. Quite a few people. I don't really like social media that much. I'm not that much of a social media kind of guy. But on my Twitter, I said, because after CoinMarketCap, we reached out by a bunch of exchanges. Now we've got an exchange that's in the top 50 asking us for over $100,000 worth of BTC. You know, 20 plus BTC they're asking for a listing. And you have to sit and think, no, that's not okay. Because it's not just one that's doing that, it's all of them that are doing that. Now, Binance,
and this is you know, this is one of my criticisms of CryptoBridge, because it could be a good exchange.
They're asking again for like 2, 3, 4 BTC.
I mean, I've talked about this in a few videos recently, and I got to the point I don't want to talk about it anymore because I did so many videos about it. But
yeah, I'll bring this point up. Centralized exchanges, as they currently are, now some of them are cool. CZ and Binance, they're okay. They're cool guys, right? They're working on decentralized exchanges. That's one of the things they want to do.
Yeah.
The current form of a lot of these centralized exchanges, and I'll quote the wonderful man behind Ethereum again, they need to burn in hell. they need to change the way their business practices are. They need to really adjust to the market. So with ZelDex, our aim is to have everything and anything we possibly can in there that makes sense as a crypto. So as many of the projects as we possibly can, be the largest exchange offering everything, to have high liquidity, to try and be up there, and to then perform as good as some of these centralized exchanges do perform. But we're not going to be having 2, 3 BTC listing fees, I don't think.
Well, that's what I was actually going to say. Like I wasn't even going to talk about centralized exchanges there. You know, my comment about CryptoBridge is more about the fact that there's coins that are being launched on, you know, first day, first block, and they're listed on CryptoBridge and things like that. You know, they're being listed on these exchanges. You know, looking from the outside on exchanges like CryptoBridge, there doesn't seem to be any. There's no restrictions.
You need to have a vetting process. You need to have a vetting process for sure.
Well, there's none at all. There's none. You know, and there's a lot of the ones.
They're just there for the money, I think, for sure.
Well, I mean,
where they take a listing fee. Now, Binance is different. Binance makes you go. I'm taking an essay every time I'm filling out the Binance application because I have to do that. So I'm filling it out, you know, writing all the different questions they have for you. They want to know the team. Is it a properly established business? It's one thing that's important for us. Was set up in Zug, Switzerland with Patrick Storschenger. It was important for us to do that because Zug's got some of the most crypto-friendly laws, the canton of Zug. But also, it allows us to then approach these bigger exchanges. Because one thing that we were a little bit dragged for almost was on our roadmap on the website, we have, quote, bigger exchanges. Now, what that could mean to a lot of people is, they're going to get listed on Binance or hit BTC or Bittrex. It almost escaped me. But,
there's a few others, like, what's the other one? KuCoin, there's a few others.
KuCoin, there's a few larger ones, yeah. What that was written back in like March, I believe, when we only had stocks. Then we had GraphEX, no one's had a GraphEX. And then we then were listed on Trade Ogre, which was quite big for Loki, I believe. And we were also listed on Trade Satoshi. Now, despite those listings, what we felt were bigger exchanges, but we hit that so early that roadmap target didn't really fit. But what we want to sort of say that we're focusing on now is we're going after the top 5 or so exchanges now, or ZelDex is going to have to come up and it's going to have to be in the top 10. So that's sort of our approach. Yes, we'll look for maybe a middle of the road, maybe Cryptopia or something similar.
Yeah.
But for now, again, it's not worth our money giving these exchanges $100,000 for a listing when it costs less than about $20 to run us.
But they don't have the volume of the traders to actually back up the fees. This is, you know, the main
that's another thing. Yeah.
You know
this exchange was getting maybe $1 million or less, and they're asking for a BTC or half a BTC. Okay, but you've got exchanges that are 25 mil and they're asking for 20 BTC, and you're thinking, guys, come on, you get 25 mil volume a day, cool and all, but is it really worth $160,000 US?
Well, that's the thing. I know we're talking about BTC, but when you convert it to fiat, it really sinks home how much it is.
Oh yeah, and this isn't the
pe-
worst one. The worst one was a big Chinese exchange that I believe is in or around the top 10. They asked us for over $1 million, and it was verified. It was them. This was from their Twitter. We made sure it wasn't a scam.
Yeah.
They asked for over $1 million worth in BTC, over $1 million US. So it's a lot of development money. It's a lot of devs we could hire. It's a lot of infrastructure costs we could cover. It's a lot of more.
Yeah, to be honest,
Give half the money to charity for flip's sake.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're almost encouraging. You're almost part of the problem if you do start giving them the money. Like being part of the SafeCoin team, I've looked into this, helping out, and there's certain websites, the What to Mine and all these other places, and there's almost like strategic exchanges where they'll say, in order to get listed on What to Mine or to get listed on this calculator, you have to be listed on one of these exchanges. So
that's What to Mine and Coin Wars, I think, or something.
Yeah, and so you need to then think strategically, right? Okay, we don't actually need to be on any of these exchanges. It doesn't.
We definitely thought that, because we were
then
like,
you
how
start
do we get houses for marketing?
Yeah, to actually get exposure, you need to take a hit and get on one of those exchanges.
Terry B's just asked me to name and shame. I don't want to.
Yeah,
their logo's white.
We probably should go back and look at all the comments, because everyone's been commenting. I do apologise, people. With the two of us, I think we can manage comments. I think when there's three of us, it was a little bit harder.
For sure. One more point on exchanges. Some of them are around. Some of them are. Binance is a good example. They're by far a leader, but there are still listing fees. Some of them that are astronomical, that are out of this world, that shouldn't be even. I can't believe the gall they have to come to a project and say, you can get listed, it'll be real quick for $1 million. And I know very well that their infrastructure would not cost them any more than maybe $100 to.
But you think this is more of a cultural thing where they're like 1 million, you're like, I'll give you $10,000. They're like, okay, deal. Is it like a haggling thing?
No, it wasn't that. No, because we tried to bargain them down, and they said that's their only listing fee. That's it. It's that.
So every coin,
like 1.5 or something, 1.035 or something ridiculous.
So every coin on their exchange has paid that.
Well, I doubt Bitcoin Foundation and Ethereum did,
but
I assume some of the smaller ones definitely did, because we have ICOs that are raising. Okay, so there's a project that I'm sure everyone had a YouTube ad for, who has even typed in Bitcoin into YouTube once. That was a wallet that had a website, and they were trying to raise, what were they called? They had a massive ad campaign, right?
There was one that was Bitcoin 2.0 or something like that as well. I don't know if that's that one.
There's all sorts of ICOs running, right?
Yeah.
This one ICO was aiming to do what ZelTrez already does. And they wanted to raise like $30-40 million to do so. And you're sat there thinking, well, and then they got funded multiple $1 million. So you sit there and you say, for some projects it makes sense. Some projects have a working proof of concept. These guys had just a white paper. And some of these ICOs make sense to raise millions of dollars, because there's cost, there's expandability that you can hire more, teams can get the project actually done. But for some of these things, they're raising millions and millions and millions, we're talking hundreds, and they're not, you can't see why. But no, some ICOs are good as well. Some are necessary, some are good projects. But there's a lot that are able to then go pay these listing fees, because the only reason they're asking for them is because people have paid them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking for them.
Well, if you can get the money, if you can get it,
why not ask? Exactly.
But that's the thing,
it's a moral question.
Even if we're in a bear run, cryptocurrency is still a gold rush, and I think everyone's looking for something to get behind. They're trying to get behind a project, and a lot of people just want to be there, at ground zero. They want to be there in the first few weeks so that they make the huge amounts of money, the big return. They don't just want to double the money. They want to become multi-millionaires. But,
no, for sure. But what we've seen in the last few months, for sure, though, was just a spamming of ICOs, and there's a lot of them.
Well, Mastodon is the biggest one just now, I think.
And Mastodon,
so
there's a lot.
Like you're talking about, they only had a white paper.
I'll tell you this.
they're selling tens of thousands of dollars in pre-sold masternodes, and they don't have
Yeah.
a white paper, or the white paper just talks about profits, or it's just full of spelling mistakes, or
Yeah. It's no real project. No,
Yeah.
and even to this day, I have people reaching out that are like, "Oh, I'll give you 3 or 4 BTC if you can make me a masternode coin," and I'd be like, "Why? If you can't write it yourself, who's going to maintain this code? Because I ain't got
Yeah.
time for this. I ain't got
Yeah.
time to write this for you, you know." And on a moral standpoint, no thanks.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just pointing to the shortage of developers, right?
I think
But you have people that think it's some sort of gold rush, like you said, where they can just come in, they can get their money, and they can leave, and that's what they think crypto is. It's not that. It really isn't that. So
I think it is. You know, there is that temptation to get drawn in and go, well, I'll get in at the start. I'll make a lot of money. I'll dump the coin and be part of the problem. I think though, a lot of people are quite short-sighted, and they're looking for these, trying to flip money over the next few weeks or the next month. Really, you should be looking at projects and going, I'm going to, you know, mine it for a few months. I'm going to buy coins for a few months, and then I'm thinking 3 years or 2 years, or 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and trying to. I think you need to think more than just days and weeks in cryptocurrency. I think that's one of the biggest problems. But if you look at Bitcoin Talk, all these projects are set up. You know, I did a video, and then I basically showed you the graph, you know, because they say it's 0.2 Bitcoin for a master. So it basically, they're essentially setting the price at like 30,000, 40,000 sats. But nearly, you could honestly get tracing paper and just get the graph on CryptoBridge and put it over lots of different coins. It starts at 40,000, then it's at 30,000, then it's at 20,000, then it's at 10,000, and then it's below that. You okay to talk still?
yeah, I just want to see what's going on. 1 sec.
No problem at all. This is something I touched upon a few weeks ago, guys, so you probably know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Good.
Oh, right, okay. No, I'm just saying that basically the coins are set up. They're almost planned to fail. You know, they're designed to fail.
No, it's not. It's not even that. That's what they are intended to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, by design, and it gives a bad name to crypto, you know, for sure. But what it also means is eventually people get, you know, smart to these, and hopefully in the future they do die out and they don't happen. And another thing we've seen in this, what people are calling, you know, down season, there's no massive pumps like there used to be. We weren't forever expanding like we were last year, right? We've seen a lot of projects die out that either were designed to die out or also not sustainable because all they were on was hype of price going up, and they never really had any intent.
Yeah, they were hoping for a bull run and didn't get it.
Yeah, exactly. So we released in January, February, when I don't think there really was much hype anymore, and we managed to survive this period because
that was kind of like the cusp of it, because I think the market was still quite high, but then February going into March was when the price started going down.
February was, I think, a tough month, and March was pretty painful for a lot of people.
You launched at a great time.
I launched it at a brilliant time for sure. No, I launched it at that time because I was like, well, I'm doing this project now.
Yeah.
And as it was moving forward, I was given time off school to focus on, because this is my GCSE year I've just done. Haven't found out my results yet. But this is my GCSE year, so I missed a lot of school. I missed a lot of school doing Zel, focusing on it full time, working a lot of late nights. On the launch night, I didn't sleep the week before. I spent about 20 hours for the whole week, and then the week it launched, I slept for about 20 hours that week, and I was basically sleeping in my chair, not leaving many times. So I was working my ass off on it. And if I was to just rely on, oh, I'll release this when the market gets good, I would never have released it. Or oh, I want to release this, but I've got other stuff I need to do. It was very difficult, especially at that time, to start a project and to have it keep running unless you did put blood, sweat, and tears, and you got people around you that could help support. So one thing I think is definitely a testament to Zel, because something that launched roughly at the same time by Anthony, Commercium, that was an interesting one because it was quite the carbon copy of Zel in a lot of ways, right? They basically, I think, took our white paper, copy pasted, and changed a few things, and they failed now. I think they've given up, right? But
I noticed the price has been going down for it.
Yeah, but again, Anthony, I've chatted to him from a few times. I have no personal massive issue with him, but the difference between that project and ours, just to bring a comparison, we have a lot more effort put in, and we don't rely on. I can't disclose the conversation we had with. I had with him, but the reliance on the market's going to go up and we'll be fine. We'll be able to do this then and this that. That's not how it works. That's not how it can be done. You should really.
Yeah, you can't rely on an unknown factor.
Not only that, but you also have to run your entity or business as a business, and you can't just be relying on unknown factors, like you said, exactly. So there's a lot of projects which just like, oh, well, we'll be able to do this after our dev fund goes up, after the price goes up. Well, our dev fund sat at 3 cents, and arguably I would say that's really quite an unfair valuation. But 3 cents of Zel is where it is, and regardless, we're still getting up as early as we can and working as late nights as we can to get the project moving forward. So for us, it doesn't really matter what the dev fund's worth or what the price is or what our personal amount of Zel is worth. It's I think this tech to be done and work and released.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the things you're talking about as far as nodes in exchange and all these other things, price isn't going to influence whether those things get done or not.
Yeah.
The
thing it can influence is, instead of us having, let's say, $11 million, if the dev fund was worth $1 per Zel, we've sat at 300K, and we haven't sold it in, I think, a month now, any of it. So and I'll tell you, the monthly outgoings are high enough to warrant selling it. But the ZelTrezor is starting to support itself for now. And we got to the point where finally it's doing that, which is nice. So the last 2 months have been supported by ZelTrezor, kind of. But there's other things, travel costs. So we're all going to the States. We need somewhere to stay. The travel is, expensive enough. And that has to be supported, not by the guys personally, but by the company. So where we're going with this is, we started in a rough time in crypto, and we're still going. And for us, I can't be a person that says we don't care about money.
I mean, at the end of the day,
it doesn't.
The world works. Yeah, the world.
The world revolves around it. And for us, it would be nice if the value of Zel was higher, because it would mean a lot of our economics would work out better for sure as well. Yeah. But it's not the main focus for us. We want to actually see this tech succeed.
No, but I think you are doing the right thing with the wallet, as far as at least you have a business model in place that you can bring in, funds, and you don't have to dip into the pre-mine, or you don't have to rely on the market helping you out and saying, once you could, as you said, you could just wait and say, well, when the coin hits $1, then we'll cash out and we'll do all these other things.
Exactly.
Just hold back, just wait your time, guys. We'll be okay.
And then you stagnate.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people say that we move very quickly, and the original plan for ZelTrezor was to release every 2 weeks, and it's got down to 1 week. It's been that for the last 3 weeks, I believe. We're doing one release a week, and we're almost. The other day, me and Tadesh had a nice long chat. We were like, come on, let's just release it this Wednesday instead of waiting until Sunday. Come on. We're like, oh, no. We can't be doing that. That's going to get ridiculous. So it's one thing I definitely want to speak for my team. Everyone has a really high work rate and work ethic. And it allows us to move forward, definitely, regardless of what the price is or whatever that is. I feel confident in what's written in that white paper being done. It may take a little bit longer in some places, but I feel confident we're going to, as we are right now, we'll hit those targets for sure, and we're going to get our stuff released. So
that's good. I'm looking forward to see what you guys do over the next few months. Do you want to? We'll talk to the people that are watching. We'll check. Yeah,
ask me some questions.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll back. We've actually, apologies guys, I've said this before. The two of us were sitting chatting for so long. I know there's been a lot of good questions.
Could I just have a quick 3-minute break?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, and then I'll come back if you can. I'll answer some questions, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, Miles. Right. So I'm just going to get through, see everyone who was posting questions there. I do apologise. If I can jump over to this webcam. Yeah, I do apologise. We've not replied to any comments yet. But hi to everyone who's been watching. Fred, there's so many to look at. Perry Shop, Richard, Daniel, Di, Push, Santiago. Good to see so many here. So, right, so there's a lot of good questions here. I'll wait till Miles comes back, and we can go back through some of these questions, because there's some good ones posted there that were posted when we were, chatting in the interview. Hope you've enjoyed the stream anyway. Quite impressed with what what the team have and what they've been doing. That's kind of, you guys know that recently I really don't want to get involved with anonymous teams. I want to start focusing on teams that are transparent and a little bit more visible out there. And I'm impressed with what ZelCash are doing. So I'm definitely going to keep tabs on what these guys are doing over the next few months. I've got 2 webcams here and I keep looking at the wrong one. Whatever I'm doing, I'll look at the wrong one. How are you guys anyway? If you've got any questions for Miles, please do post them. When Miles comes back, we'll go through all the questions and we can discuss them. Hope you guys are good anyway. Thanks, Di. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate everyone.
I'm back.
Yeah. So
were there any questions?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to get back. There was a lot of questions asked when we were chatting earlier on with Daniel.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to
answer. Do you want me to scroll up and find them, or do you want to ask them?
Okay. BTG Joseph, ASICs are kind of fake security, since people who run them should not be motivated to attack their own network. Other than that, ASICs are just fancy machines with only one purpose. They're more efficient to mine, but they have no use outside of that one purpose. This is what makes them not at all practical for most of the world. I don't know if I agree with that. I think the bigger issue with ASIC miners, like, I don't know if you view it this way, Miles, but the way that I view ASIC mining machines is, to me, GPUs, ASICs, FPGAs, they're all just silicon. They're just sand. It's just computer components. But the way that I look at it is, again, it goes back to what we were saying at the very start. It's a level playing field. This is the bigger issue, and really, decentralization, a level playing field. I think this is what the whole GPU versus ASICs is all about, more than the fact that they can only do one thing, because they do one thing, but they do it well.
Where I would, if you don't mind, in an ideal world, we'll be living by the BTC white paper, where one CPU, one vote, everyone's just mining with one CPU, or maybe multiple CPUs, but it's CPU mining. But as GPUs, I think there's not only the romanticization of GPUs, definitely. They're cool. Yeah. I think everyone can say they like GPUs because they're cool. But also, they're not purpose-built for the task of mining cryptocurrency like ASICs are. And it's the business practices that I definitely say, on a moral standpoint, all of us don't agree with, is we build this machine for about $100, then we mine with it ourselves, then we sell the machine for about $1,500, and we've already mined with it for months on end. Yeah. That kind of business practice, not okay, and I don't think in anyone's book. So, yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's going to be difficult to have it any different than that. So.
I do think, this was something that you probably saw a lot of a few months ago when the Equihash miners were announced. There was probably lots of discussions in the ZelCash Discord about it. People kept saying GPUs versus ASIC mining machines, but you know what? As someone who gets a high electricity bill every month, seeing that, compared to all my rigs, which are thousands of watts, one Z9 Mini is only 300 watts. So I think it's unfair.
How did that feel, being you?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I managed to get rid of my farm just before they came out. I haven't anything or anything.
But I
did manage to get them rid of just before they came out. So.
But I think from an efficiency point of view, you have to look at it objectively and say, well, that's quite good that they only do one thing, because they do it very well. The problem is, again, like we say, because no one just buys one machine, everyone buys them, the difficulty spikes up, and then all of a sudden, people, a 300 watt ASIC machine.
Having 100 people mining and having the hash rate distributed, let's say you've got 10 people mining and they're beating these 100 people and they have more than 50%, that's just 10 people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a way to look at it.
Well, in an ideal world, you'd be building like I saw one the other day, and I honestly thought it was a joke, but it was an ASIC mine machine or some sort of mining machine built into a television. and the idea being that it mined whilst you watch your television. It was something like that.
Yeah, there's a router that Bitmain make, and will be maybe an idea where people's houses are heated through the computational power and ASIC or
well, that's the thing, you know, if this was all
houses.
built into people's houses, you know, it's
that's I heard that as well.
I mean, it's a good question. I just don't think it's as simplistic as ASICs are evil or anything like that.
No, it's not, and it's also not as simple as the ASIC resistance, and we want to be ASIC. A lot of projects said we're ASIC resistant, and then all of a sudden, Big Bag Bitmain come along, and they're like, "Oh no, we're not anymore. We were ASIC resistant, but we're not really." So,
actually, there was just a very new question at the end there. Great stream, Kevin. Can you recommend a mining pool? Well, if I jump to, the one I use Equipool for a few different coins.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Equipool's cool.
Equipool.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, on the ZelCash website, there's a pool section. It's got a list of a lot of different ones. I know from experience that Equipool is good, but I'm sure some of those other ones are good as well.
Equipool's good. Cloudpools is good. The guys that run it are great. CoinBlockers is good, but make sure you keep the hash distributed, guys. There's a chart that shows hash rate distribution between pools. The CoinBlockers, Jules, he's a great chap and knows a lot of stuff. So does Cloudpools and Equipool as well. Everyone knows Equipool and where he is and how he is around space. So
where's the graph with the distribution? Is it on the website?
It's on the new Explorer actually. So we have. Oh,
okay, right.
Tadeusz and Lucas have made us quite a nice new Explorer that
the main one.
Yeah, just explorer.zel.cash. I just need to restart.
Okay. So what Miles is talking about here, if I put this on the main one, if you go down to the bottom, of the home page, they've got Explorers. Click on Main, takes you to explorer.zel.cash, and there's a pools page at the top here, and you can see the distribution here. So you can see that Equipool's got 44%.
Google ZelCash Explorer as well, and it's the top result. So
okay. So that's a really good one. So in fact, I'll put this into the comment area for you guys to check out.
This was done by Tadeusz and Lucas, and it's the most advanced Explorer for a Zcash fork coin that's out there now. So
it looks really good.
It's nice. There's a few things we want to touch up. We want to change the UI to be more flat design, kind of clean. But for now, the functionality it brings is great. So
even just little things like integrating, Twitter and YouTube and other things like that, and Discord. Most Explorers are a little bit more basic. Right, to go back, there's so many questions, Miles, so many questions.
Go ahead, ask away.
Terry B, I love the wallet just from now. It puts Exodus to shame as more potential. Smiley face.
Thank you. We're fighting them directly.
Yeah. Perry Scop, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. What I don't like about ASICs is that you have to buy a new one every 6 months to 1 year just to stand still. It creates a never-ending stream of revenue to a company that produces ASICs. Yes. Well, I do agree with that, but at the same time, if you buy a GPU right now, the break-even point is like a year or so. Doug says Zel to the moon with $1. Moons.
One point I just wanted to bring on. Exodus are cool. They good guys that run Exodus as well. But and I'm sure originally people saw a lot of parallels between Trezor and Exodus. I would say Exodus is simplistic, cool, but I wouldn't say it's really sort of crypto feel where you have accounts that you don't have access to your private keys, I don't think, right? You don't have full node options either. So, and they do store user information. So by storing no user information and sort of giving the pseudo anonymity that crypto should have, that's where I see ZelCash sort of starting to step away, and we're adding more functionality as we go along as well. So thanks, Terry, for picking that up. But no shame on Exodus. They're much bigger than we are right now. So we have quite a way to go to beat them, to catch them up.
Yeah, that's what you were saying
earlier.
Don't
be too negative on anybody.
No, you did touch upon that earlier. Remember, you touched upon the fact if you lose your login, they'll email it to you.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, someone's corrected me. They do allow access to your private keys via developer tools. When was that added?
Yeah,
that always been like that? Or?
Yes, I think I scrolled past it there. there's if you look on, I'll put it on the mainstream here. It says control your keys.
Okay.
Exodus encrypts private keys and transaction data locally to your eyes only. No account setup required. Okay.
Can I view my private keys 5 days ago? Was this a new thing then, or?
I'm not sure. What was
July, June, 10th of June. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've had it for a while.
Yeah, there's maybe something they've added, because I mean, it looks like the website is completely different.
I've just Googled it now, and it's just been up. Yeah, but either way, yeah, Exodus, and there's also Jax, say the other big one. Exodus is only on desktop, so in about a month's time, we'll also be on mobile. And then what's the other one? Jax. Jax is mobile. I think the team behind Jax as well. They're some pretty big guys. They're pretty cool, I think. I don't call everyone pretty cool. That sounds very cringy at this point. They're great guys that were over at Jax, and from the one time we asked for some help and they just laughed at us, but we figured it out ourselves. Jax, their mobile wallet, the UI on it, it's like they didn't. I know there's Jax to Liberty now. I haven't looked much into that, but the current mobile wallet doesn't look like it was designed for mobile. The menu's at the top of the screen, and it's like difficult to. That's cool. Yeah. Anyway, it's difficult to use because you're having to hold your phone instead of being at your thumbs where everything's at the bottom, menus are at the bottom. You're having to reach up your phone to touch the menu bar. Or
is it at the top?
So it wasn't really. I don't think it was really put much effort or design into how they.
On the subject of wallets, like if I go back to a few months ago, I remember McAfee was coming out saying that you should never store anything in a mobile wallet. Obviously you get, here's one, I've got one sitting here, but like I've got Ledger.
No, one of these.
But you could get like Trezor and things like that. Yeah. So is that something you'd like to see ZelCash added to? Like this year we've seen ZenCash and a few others being added to, like Ledger and things like that. Is that something you'd like to see ZelCash doing in the future?
We're thinking of potentially using Trezor and Ledger as a way to authenticate and unlock your ZelTrez.
So like a 2FA type thing?
Yeah, without 2FA, because the way TFA works, you have to have a centralized server.
Yeah.
No. So that's a potential there, but we need to look deeper into it.
I think that's the way that Bitcoin Private did it. I think they use it just as a, you have to log in via the Nano, and then it opens up the wallet, I think. Right, Terry, we're going back to old discussions here because of the way I'm doing this, but Terry was saying only one true way to look at an ASIC. That is, ASIC is a true definition of technology. What you buy today is already out of date tomorrow, at least with GPUs, as you say, they have a shelf life.
Sorry, if I could just jump in.
No problem at all.
I was just asked about if they could import their Raven wallet into ZelTrez. You can. Yeah, you can through full node. So download ZelTrez, start full node, it will find your wallet.dat and import it. And encrypt it then, so you won't be able to actually access it from your old Raven QT. But the better option I'd recommend is just to send, it's easy to use anyway, is to send your Raven coin from your old wallet to your stream crash ? Don't think so. Anyway, send your Raven coin from your old wallet to your QT to your ZelTrez lightweight. That way you can access it from multiple computers, because full node, you need the wallet.dat to access it on multiple computers. So in lightweight, you can just log in wherever and you have access to your funds. And then a few other things just came in. Tron on ZelTrez, maybe. We want to add everything. So that's feasible to add and useful to add. So yeah, you can see that happening soon. I think we definitely want to match Jax, Exodus, and a couple of the other wallets out there in the number of coins they support and exceed them for sure. That way, the extra features we have really do then exemplify. So there shouldn't be a reason for a user to say, well, I would use this if they had Monero support or if they had Dash support. Or
that's the thing, because...
So we want to add all of those. Monero's on the cards, everything. It's all game.
I like the way you're thinking about this, though, because the wallet isn't just a way to push the ZelCash. It's a product in its own right. So you have to look at it separately outside of everything else you're doing in order to compete with Exodus. Because if you're biased and saying, well, how does that help ZelCash? It's going to end up being a
dedicated team that just focuses on our Exodus competitor, ZelTrez.
Yeah.
So Where I would say it sits is it's potentially ending up being its own company at this point. So because it's its own set of rules, really, it's its own thing.
Yeah,
and it's expanding as its own thing. So, yeah, for sure, you have to look at it as a separate thing.
that's good.
Is there another question on ASICs?
There was another. I'm going back to questions way before.
Okay.
Well, the one Terry was saying was if when you buy today, it's already out of date tomorrow. At least with GPUs, as you say, they have a shelf life. I don't know. I don't view it that way though, because GPUs still have a break-even point. They still have an ROI date. And if you buy an ASIC mining machine and it breaks even in 90 days, and your GPU breaks even in 15 months, then the fact you need to go out and buy another one in 3 months is kind of a moot point, if you know what I mean. You know, because I mean, I don't have any ASIC. I don't have an ASIC miner, so I'm not. I just think you need to kind of take a step back with this.
I've only ever seen them in farms that I've visited. I've never wanted to own one, except from when I was like 12, 13, when the S9 first came out. Me and a friend thought, oh, this is a nice little story. We were like, well, crypto's cool because we're both little nerds, right? We were into computers, messing around, coding, building computers and everything. And we heard about crypto, we were looking into it. Oh, this is really cool. Internet money. And then we were like, well, how can we mine some of this internet money? And we were like, ooh, ASICs. Okay. Well, we went both to our parents. We came back the next day and we said, well, our parents, we can't run out of home because we told them it's 80 decibels. It's like a motorbike, basically. So that's not going to happen. Okay, what can we do? At school, we could probably put it in the basement somewhere. So that's what we planned on doing. It didn't end up happening because
just running an Ethernet cable up the walls.
Oh yeah, we had all sorts. We had the Ethernet cables. We had the bollocks to go and do it. Luckily, we didn't though, because that would have been a whole world of funny. But we should have. You know, that ASIC would have ROI'd quite a few times. We would have just kept the BTC back in like.
You'd maybe not.
Whenever the S9 had just come out. Whenever the S9 had just.
You could be a multi-millionaire by now. Who knows where you'd be?
You would have known. Maybe around 2 or 3.
No, there are some good questions there about ASICs, but I don't know. I mean, I feel that if you look the way I try to think about it is I'm a GPU miner simply because I have GPUs. But if I'm honest with myself, if I had $10,000 today or $1,000, what do I buy? Do I buy a GPU? Do I buy an ASIC miner? Do I buy an FPGA? Do I go out and just buy buy the coins or to put it towards a masternode? When you start thinking like that and just look at it on paper and forget about what do you have already and how does this affect your existing equipment, I think it's a different. I think you look at it in a different way. This is why I'm trying to look at all this objectively and think, someone with an ASIC, with 5 ASICs compared to my 30 GPUs or whatever, maybe they're making the same money depending on what ASICs they've got. But does that make them, they're doing it right and I'm doing it wrong?
I wouldn't say so.
Again, it comes back to the main issues being decentralization and, Bitmain and all this kind of thing.
I wanted to answer some of these questions that have just come in.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
Some of the smaller altcoins. So how likely are we to see some of these smaller altcoins like Akorma and Loki? I've reached out to Akorma. I think it's Detroit Borg or something like that guy. I have reached out to him.
They've got nodes as well, don't they? Akorma nodes, I think they've got nodes.
Akorma, there it is. Yeah, Detroit Pro. I've reached out to Detroit Pro. I have talked with him, and we'll see potentially where that goes. Yep, why not? And for Loki, I need to reach out to their team. If you have any suggestions for coins you want to add to ZelTrez, does this chat has it saved for afterwards? Does it?
Yeah, it displays on it.
Cool. That's what ours does. So I'm not sure if you have that turned on or not. So yeah, spam suggestions in here. Don't spam them, but put suggestions in here. And
with regards to the wallet,
take them into account.
See, with regards to the wallet and the DEX, what's the strategy for adding new coins? Would you be looking
everything
at
that's added to ZelTrez as part of the Zel ecosystem, part of ZelDex?
Ah, right, okay.
And we're potentially going to also offer them as part of ZelPay as well. So one interesting way of using ZelPay would be kind of like the mail to function. So if you click an email address, it'll, in Chrome, your URL will be mail to : the email address, and then it'll open your mail client, right?
Yeah.
You've seen that before. So we're going to do a similar function with ZelTrez where you can click pay with ZelTrez and it'll open up your ZelTrez. You type your password in. It will then input the amount, input the address, and all you have to do is click send to use ZelPay. So,
but it's quite interesting because you could, you know, when you're vetting these coins,
Mm-hmm.
you're vetting them for the whole ecosystem, like the DEX, the payment system.
Yeah. It's going to be, again, it's not enforced. Like a merchant will be able to decide if they want to accept Zel, BTC, LTC, ETH, and then we have Raven, we have,
so they can opt in to
Komodo.
whatever
They
coin
can
they
choose
want.
which they want for sure.
Right. Okay.
But it will be offered as an option because it would be using similar tech to what we use for the payment process anyway. Would be similar tech to what we already use in ZelTrez anyway. So why not offer it? So yeah, stuff that's being added to ZelTrez as part of the Zel ecosystem, as we call it. So yeah,
that's a smart idea.
One question came in: is ZelTrez unhackable? That's a nice question. What do you mean by that?
Good luck with that.
Is anything unhackable, as we've seen by Mr. McAfee and his wonderful claims?
Yeah,
I don't say anything's ever unhackable. If you want my honest recommendation, if you're keeping what you would call significant assets, significant crypto, keep it on paper. You can't hack paper. So as in the term hack, you can't hack paper, but anything digital, I would not trust with my hundreds of thousands of dollars. My tens of thousands, yes, and I am confident that ZelTrez meets the security of Exodus. It meets the security of Jax, but I wouldn't say it is unhackable. Nothing is unhackable.
But that's the thing. Whenever something becomes more valuable, it becomes a target.
Yeah.
And this is, when you've got more people working on it, putting more resources to it,
No, I think we've taken the best approach for keeping funds safe by not emailing your recovery phrases because emails are quite easy to break into sometimes. We've taken the best approach in that aspect, I'd say. So it's as safe as a digital wallet can be for now. But will I put the label unhackable? I wouldn't put the label unhackable on anything that runs code. So it's difficult to say that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Very good point.
You can't go and market something unhackable because you're shooting yourself in the foot.
No, of course not. Good comment by Terry. ASICs, you need to get first or second batch. I agree with that 100%. Very good good point.
If you're going to get an ASIC, you're going to end up getting shafted if you're getting it. Can I say that? Is that rude?
No, that's fine.
Okay, you end up getting shafted if you end up buying the fourth, fifth rerun.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting, you can see the price just cut in half basically.
But then there's always a risk in the first batch as well. With the coins start forking and you don't know what's going to happen. Give me two minutes, Miles. I've drank about 3/4 of my bottle.
I've done 2 liters of this as well.
Right, okay. There's some good questions here anyway.
I'll manage the stream, I guess. Then I'll just talk to people.
Okay, my co-host.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing I said was if anyone wants to put suggestions or stuff they want to see listed in ZelTrez, please put them in the comments and we'll look at it and get it added most likely in the next couple of weeks. So we are on a sort of 1 week release schedule at this point. So there's new stuff being added every week. So any suggestions, throw them in there. If there's any questions, ask and I'll answer. We need more Great British Pound trading pairs. I'd agree, Di. We do. Who knows? It's difficult to get licensing though for fiat exchanges. It's expensive and it's difficult to do so. So we'll see. Maybe a Great British Pound only. Answering Terry's question, so is the end game of the wallet to be able to trade all coins in the wallet? That's a yes. Anything in, like I said before, anything in ZelTrez is going to be part of the Zel ecosystem, and it will also be added to ZelDex. Okay, Pigeon Coin's a suggestion for sure. There's a few. Welcome back. There's a few better questions that have just sort of come in.
Okay, yeah. I think the easiest thing at this point was any of the older questions. If we didn't answer it, just copy and paste it back so we can see it.
Say it again. Okay, so what do you think of Masternode's the masternodes confirmed transactions, emissions would be unlimited to sustain the system, fees would be burnt. Where do we sit with that? It depends as we develop the economic structure of how masternodes are going to be used. In our opinion, I don't think we really want to be having masternodes confirming necessarily transactions for ZelCash itself. But they may be confirming blocks. They will be confirming blocks for other sidechains. But potentially, yes. So fees being burned, I guess the fees would just be sort of mined by the masternodes anyway, right? If we're going to be having masternodes doing anything with ZelCash directly, then yes, it could increase TPS of ZelCash itself, but it would be the same fees as you pay to miners. Okay.
Pigeon coin. Shane said pigeon coin, but he didn't ask a question.
Oh, no, I just said leave suggestions for coins you want to see.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, okay. On its own, I don't know what you're saying.
No pigeon coin. Yeah, I reached out to Luke. I have talked to him, but I don't think. Yeah, maybe what we do is we add a bunch of coins, sort of as like a community project, like Pigeon Coin kind of is. So we're looking at Vertcoin and a couple others right now to try and add in that community round. So they don't necessarily pay a listing fee, but there's a little bit of social media marketing, and we do our best to try and run
just long-term relationships as well.
Yeah, it does build long. Well. I've chatted with Luke a few times, and it does open us up to more things for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that. Rabin was asking before, what is the best for mining? RX 580 versus 570 price are almost the same. Well, 580 is better.
580.
Yeah. It's a
Go off the number. 580 is better. Unless you're talking about a GTX 570, then definitely the 580 is better.
But then that would.
I'm talking about the 2010.
Oh yeah, 570. Yeah, the 5th series NVIDIA.
Yeah, it's because he said RX 580 versus 570 maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm just messing with him. How can you tell ZelCash addresses apart from Zcash? They're the same. Same as Bitcoin Z as well. So in ZelTrez, your transparent address is the same as all the Zcash forks. So Zcash, Bitcoin Z, Zel, other coins that may or may not be added.
Anything that use ZK snarks.
Not necessarily anything that uses ZK snarks. It's anything that has the same pub key hash or starting character. So in chain params, you can define that. Some coins change it, some coins don't. We didn't because T for transparent, Z for ZK snarks private was good enough.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the ones I've seen have used that. They've adopted.
Yeah, except I know Snowgem is an S at the start.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a couple of Zcoin is an A, but Zcoin isn't. That's wrong. Zcoin is not a fork of Zcash. They're their own privacy text. Sorry to that was
yeah.
But okay, Elastos and Nulls, please. I've reached out to Nulls. It's difficult for Nulls for sure. They're Java only, and they don't seem to have any lightweight functionality as of yet. There was full node potentially, but it would have to be working with their team. Elastos, get them to reach out to us if I haven't already reached out to them.
Did you see that one? Is there any plans to burn any of the pre-mine?
That one. Why? I'd rather, instead of burning it, maybe give it as grants or donate it to or you can verify as good charities or do the charitable work ourselves. So we are setting up a foundation as a charity aspect. So by Daniel's background is also in the charity. He works for a charity in the Daughters, they're called, I believe. It's a Catholic charity that works on inner cities and stuff. And he has a bit of a background in that. And I think a lot of the team, sort of our morals are quite humanitarian. So if we could, instead of burning it just for the price to go up, it would rather be to donate maybe computers to schools in less fortunate countries, Haiti,
I see this coming up again and again, burn the coins to make it more scarce. But what did you say you're saying at just now? Oh, I could check the Explorer. Was it 48 million?
For what, sorry?
Yeah, how many coins have been mined? Of
Coin market cap will give you that. Nice you've been added there, finally.
I could add that in. But the thing is, if you're, see if I can I'll bring this up so I can show people.
Okay, let's have a look. 32.6. But if you minus the dev fund from that, which currently is sat at 11, then it's 21. So 12.5 is being
well,
mined.
this is the thing with 32.5 million coins, 210 million supply. Does burning any coins right now actually do anything? It doesn't. It's not going to affect anything. It's kind of a waste.
No, I don't see the point of burning it, because we could, like someone just suggested, we can actually give grants potentially for people that are developing for the ecosystem. We could, do, like I said, charitable work. It makes no sense to me to burn, except for maybe a hype item that could, the price is increasing. A lot of these projects that are burning their pre-mine, they have other pre-mine they're not burning, otherwise they wouldn't be burning it,
Yeah.
So what's the point of burning it? I don't see that.
Well, I saw Bitcoin Cash were doing that, weren't they? I think
Were
Bitcoin
they?
Cash. I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any of you guys know? I'm sure there's a news story. I'll see if I can Google that before I get a lawsuit.
Yeah, be careful.
I'm sure they were talking about it at one point.
Some other suggestions: ETH Classic for sure, Bitcoin Private. We're in talks with them. They're cool guys. Actually, we're going to meet them probably at CryptoCoinCon. Bitcoin Private's there. PivX is there. Guys, come to CryptoCoinCon and talk to us. Okay.
Yeah, Bitcoin Cash did. I remember there was a news story a few months ago, so it was back in April. There's lots of news stories about it.
Another suggestion was Seki Coin. Yes, they have reached out. Actually, Seki, we've been added to their payment system, I believe, as a vote by their community. That's how I heard about Seki. So they reached out to us. Have you heard of Seki at all?
I've heard about it. Yeah, I did. I think I did a video about it.
Okay.
If I remember right, that was the Masternode coin. They're a Masternode coin.
Yeah, it's a Masternode coin, and they're doing some.
Oh, is this the one where it's
stuff.
like is that the one that's deploying?
I read their white paper. They've got this thing called SekiPay, and they're doing an interesting concept of child chains. It's sort of like.
I'm getting mixed up. I did a video on Infinix as well. They were like a one-click deploy for masternodes. Seki's the one that's doing WooCommerce integration, isn't it?
They have WooCommerce, or they're working on it, I believe, and they're also working on sidechain asset chains. I think they call them child chains, from what I read.
Right.
I'm not sure. It sounds interesting, but I haven't read deeper into it. Potentially, maybe they can get added to.
We actually missed one of Richard's questions. He asked us to check it out. See the one above below Pigeon Coin. Richard had asked, Miles, do you see any crypto having a higher value if it's classed as an asset rather than a currency?
I'm not an economist by trade.
Yeah. That must be
okay. I could see it because it would make institutional investors feel more confident with it, correct? So potentially.
Well, this is a big thing in the USA just now, isn't it? That they're not trying to be classed as a security. But that's not a term we use in the UK, I don't think. A security isn't a term.
I'm not sure.
It's not something I'm familiar with.
I'd say, yeah, Richard, it would probably benefit the coin's price due to institutional investors feeling happier about it. But I'm not an economist, nor am I a trader. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to comment, sorry.
Can't we buy any Zel yet? Yeah, you can buy it. It's on a few exchanges.
Yeah, it's on 4 exchanges, 2 that are any good-ish. Well, 3 are any good.
It's all on the website, Zel.cash.
Yeah, you can find it all there. Or you just Google ZelCash, probably type my name in and find it as well. A question.
It's a lighter but too difficult. You were worried about taking
the Lira one.
Kev. Ah, right, okay. Security equals stock. Right. I see that term. Right, so it's just like stocks and shares. Yeah.
Oh, Richard already knows. Okay. He just wants me to stumble over myself trying to answer it. Okay. I reached out to the Strax team to contact the Zel guys. Go for it. Any of your favorites, your favorite coins that you want to see added to ZelTrez, if you like ZelTrez, ask them to reach out.
You do have I'll try and show this on screen. You do have a lot of coins already. I'll try and okay. I'd minimized the window so it was displaying funny. Right. So right now the wallet has ZelCash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Zcash, Bitcore, Bitcoin Gold, Stocks, Zcoin, Safecoin,
We'll be there for a
Bitcoin,
while, I
Z,
think.
Raven, Hush, Binance. Oh, you've got BNB coin as well.
Yeah, we added that
Go.
after CZ said that there's no wallets that really offer it. So within like 48 hours, we added it.
ZealQuat, 0x, Oh My Go, Golem, Bat, Civic, Snowgem, Zen, and Komodo. So it's a good mix. There's a good mix of established coins and you know, kind of newish coins as well.
There's a lot more to come, especially in the next update. We have announced USDT support. So the way USDT is handled now, it's like from their official website, it's like $5 a transaction. We're going to lower that as low as we can possibly. So you're only paying transaction fees. So
why is that so high? Why is that so high?
Because they can. It's no reason to be.
Is that a fixed fee though? Is that a fixed fee?
No, we did transactions for much less than that. It's just what exchanges set. Some exchanges set 350, some exchanges set 5. The official wallet sets 5. So we're setting it much lower than that. So we'll probably see a lot of people that store USDT long term moving to ZelTrez hopefully. And then there's quite a few other ERC20 tokens, and the big ones we're looking at now, Monero potentially would be a cool one to add. So a few others.
Yeah. Will the dApps assets on Zel platform have a focus on airdrops or ICOs? How does the foundation plan to guide those interested to build?
So we're going to have, there's an interesting thing that was thrown around known as Zel Uni, which is going to be a compilation of sort of kind of like courses or information to help people who are developing for Zel. We want to make it as simple as possible. So in terms of a Turing complete scripting language and what we're going to use as our language for writing smart contracts, we're going to try and make it as close to JS as possible, JavaScript. There'll have to be a few modifications here and there, but it will be as vanilla JavaScript as possible. And then, yeah, there'll be guidance, but decentralization, so people can add and do whatever they want with it. We'll have to work out some sort of fee structure with the dev platform for sure, because we don't want it to be spam attacked by somebody just doing a bunch of transactions that have no reason to be sent, but they are being sent. So there have to be some fees, like kind of like gases, I guess, right? But it's to be worked out and to be developed as we move forward for sure.
Well, that's the thing, like you were saying with decentralization, like once they come onto your platform, you can't really dictate what they do. No. As far as their ICOs and all that, so you'll get.
It's also an interesting. Sorry to cut you off. It's an interesting sort of line you'll be dancing potentially. So one thing we will probably have to do I hate having any censorship or control of anything, but one thing we'll have to probably would be the dApp store itself, where okay, everything will be free. We don't really call it a store, like a hub, I guess. That sounds like something else, but we'll have to just make sure we stay within the laws of countries and what's really morally acceptable. Because if you're giving people this distributed computer with massive amounts of storage, you're going to have people that are breaking the laws using it for illicit stuff that I think morally everyone disagrees with without having to point it out, right? So that's definitely something. The only time we could really control that is to try and ensure that those sort of applications that would focus on that kind of stuff or illicitly try and target that sort of stuff would be pushed to the back. But it comes to the question of creating maybe something like Twitter. So that is not really enforced or controlled in any way, except for maybe having spam detection.
Yeah. Because
there's a massive problem with shadow bans where Twitter is censoring people's for a certain opinion. We've got recent news, although no one really should agree with Alex Jones's political views. I'm not one to comment.
Yeah.
You're open to your own views.
He was banned by
Apple Music, banned by YouTube, Facebook, I believe Twitter as well, and Spotify.
Is it banned by YouTube as well?
Oh, in the space of 12 hours, gone.
So was that them all working together in the background?
That was all them working together, and you sit there and you think, this person has been completely silenced. And there's plenty of examples where for people's certain political views, whether they're right or left, you could take the carbon copy of something that's a left-wing view, and then it's carbon printed as a right-wing view, right? And the right-wing view's censored, or the left-wing view's censored, and it's difficult to call it, you know, free speech in a social media platform that allows people to communicate freely when it doesn't. So, but then there's always problems with that.
It's difficult because it's a dangerous road to go down, but
it's a dangerous road to go down because it can end up being Silk Road or some other weird shit.
I think it's one of those things, if you look at the political extremes, if you go too far one way or another, it, you know, gets, you could say it's hate speech or whatever. I mean, it's the same. It's the same on.
The thing is, you can't. How do you define hate speech? Now, I don't want to get into politics, but how do you define hate speech?
Well, that's, you know, I think if you go to the left side, and again, I don't like getting too much involved in politics, but if you go to the left side, there's almost like they poke people to say something, and as soon as they, you know, say something which they don't deem correct, they go, "Aha, we've got you. Now let's end his career." And then there's like all this hate. It's
been a bit of sentiment like that, and there's been stuff.
I mean, I don't agree with what he says, but at the same time, I don't.
No one should. No one. I won't say no one should. No one. Everyone's open to their own opinion.
Yeah.
But some of that stuff was clear whack, and I think, and I, as far as I know, I hope it's a character that he was playing. You know, but hey, he's entitled to his own opinion. People are entitled to believe and, you know, do as they want.
But I mean, as someone in your position, you know, that's leading a cryptocurrency, you not only have to follow the laws in your own country, follow the laws in Switzerland, and I know Switzerland. I don't know. I've been to Switzerland once in the airport, so I'm not an expert, but I believe the cantons work kind of in the same way as the United States with their states, where they've each got their own laws. They set their own taxes and all that. But you need to navigate through that. But then every country that ZelCash or, you know, ZelChain was being used, you need to adhere to those laws as well. And
I mean, it's cool because we can get around the Great Firewall of China. We can get around Russia's attempted bans unless they ban everything. Do you remember that, where Russia ended up banning the entire internet at some point, or one provided it by accident, but for a bit. So they're trying to ban Telegram, but Iran has similar stuff. So yes, we can get around it. We have to follow those laws. Go ahead.
Does Telegram not require? Was it your passport or something now, or something? What do they require? For...
I don't know, something crazy that Russia's trying to get a grip of. Now, as a Russian, well, half Russian, I don't want to speak illy of the country. It could be ran in different ways. Other countries could be ran in different ways. No country's perfect in any means.
We're from the UK. It's far from perfect.
We're in the UK. We're struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not struggling, but it's not great here as well. Sunny and wonderful. And
every country has its problems.
Exactly. And one thing I'll say, just my last point while we're on the political subject. I was in America, and I had this American woman of, I would say, left-wing beliefs, or very, what was now called a liberal belief.
Yep.
And she was saying how the US is so horrible, it's very unsafe for women, it's this, it's that. And you sit there and you say, I don't think you see the bigger picture. You haven't stepped outside the United States to see what it's really like out there. Yeah. You know, she was going on saying it's one of the top 10 most dangerous countries for women. And not to get too deeply into politics, maybe it is. Maybe, you know, women do have a hard time in the States with the sort of culture that there is in universities and the job structure, especially the Hollywood outcries that have happened. But again, a lot of it's overinflated, and a lot of it isn't put into scope of rationale of what's really going on in the world. Because the wider field, it would be cool if we could have everything and anything to an extent on Zel, and people have uncensored communication on it. But I don't want to end up landing in a country and being arrested because I run it and somebody's done something highly illegal on it. So it's difficult finding that balance, you know.
But the thing is, like, as far as Russia, so have they completely banned Telegram?
I think I've frozen. Sorry, can you say that again? You froze a little bit.
All right, sorry. Yeah, it's saying it went from red to yellow to green. I'm not sure if anyone had a problem with the stream there.
Okay.
It should be okay now. And, you know, when the news came out with Telegram is completely banned, or just is it like a limited thing in Russia?
It's ZelCash has been banned occasionally.
No, not ZelCash, sorry, Telegram.
No, Telegram. I'm saying even ZelCash is banned sometimes by some Russian provider. They can't access. So
But see just
I'm
the
not
whole,
sure. I'm not sure with the whole situation with Telegram as it is now. I guess I'm gonna look it up.
to me, like, because we've had this before, where whenever there's like they did it all with the Arab uprising and all these other things, and you know, first they're blaming BlackBerry Messenger, then they'll blame MSN Messenger or Yahoo Messenger, then it's WhatsApp, then it's something else. I mean, there's always going to be a demand for encrypted messaging.
There's always going to be demand for encrypted messaging, free communication, and there are always going to be governments that are opposed to that.
Yeah.
Even in the UK, we don't have free speech. We don't have freedom to sort of report and do as we feel.
Well, we saw the more, you know, one that was quite close to me. Did you follow the one? It was like this kind of tattooed guy. He actually doesn't live that far from me. Like
Marcus Meekum,
the
Count Dankula.
Yeah, Count Dankula. So
Marcus Meekum, yep.
I didn't know that was his full name. I watched the video, so I don't know if anyone's seen it, but basically, he's a comedian. I mean, I watched some of his videos were okay, other ones I wasn't a fan of, but he seemed like a nice enough guy, and he just, because his dog was the nicest dog in the world, he made it do a little Hitler thing, which, at the very, you know, if you don't like that kind of humor, fine, but you could at least say it's just a bad joke. That's the main criticism.
That's exactly the problem we start to fall into, where when you start, because I mean, his thing was taken completely out of context. It wasn't, this is just a UK thing, I believe. I'm sure it happens in other countries, but it didn't matter about context, apparently. They said because he was telling his dog to, you know, do Nazi references, he was a Nazi. The man himself has a communist tattoo on his heart, I believe. You know, he has the hammer and sickle.
But then, like, how many movies and comedies have there been that featured Nazis and all this as well? Like,
exactly. And
go back 20 years.
Prince Harry himself was dressed as an SS officer. Prince Harry was dressed. Exactly. Oh, yes, it's a scandal. Yes, it's not a good idea. You know, and you're entitled to your own opinion on what you feel of Nazis. But it is difficult in, I'd say, all countries to have true free speech, because no one does. Nowhere does right now. America maybe has the most open approach for sure, but the social media companies are censoring for the government, and not necessarily the government censoring, but the social media companies are doing it. So I know that's bizarre. You need to be careful with politics, because everyone entitled to their own opinion and everything, and you know, the UK is great. Theresa May, I'm sorry, but
well, the thing is, see, when I still find it funny, because see, when people say Theresa May, in the 90s, when I was like, you know, a teenager, Theresa May was just a popular page 3 model stroke porn star. She was on the cover of all these magazines. So if you search for Theresa May and you spell it with one letter differently, you'll get a very different result. So I always find it funny when people talk about Theresa May, and I'm like, well, she was the woman with the large presence.
We can't even think something without someone being offended. Richard, British humor is pretty wild. Yeah, we are. The British, we're a different breed. Some of us are very sarcastic. Some of us have very dark humor. A lot of us share that dark humor. And it's just, where we were going with it is, it's nowhere has free communication and free transaction. So nowhere. It is Hush's Hush, the coin Hush. It was at some point in their logo to communicate and transact freely, and I find that as a good motto. I would love it if people could transact and communicate freely, but it's very difficult to do so. So we have to find as close to that as possible. I'm doing your sorry, I'm doing your I don't mean to animate you. Okay. It's just it's an accidental thing, but as far as where we're going with that, we actually are going to have a messenger for Zell. It's going to be released on mobile side. It works. Today has it working.
Well, Sean James was asking a question about there as well. Who are the main target clients of the dApps on ZelCash besides, say, journalists or those in
everybody and anybody?
Yeah.
Anyone that uses a computer.
I actually read your bad spelling initially. And not that I'm criticising your spelling. I actually read. I'm like Anchorman here, just reading exactly what's on the teleprompter. Suppressed countries. Did you see the comments here? Amsterdam Holland talking about the price. What's the best website to check Bitcoin and old CoinMarketCap's the best one, or?
I don't really. I think CoinLib does a good job of it.
CoinLib, right? There's another one people always told me.
CoinMarketCap's obviously the big one. There's CoinGecko, CoinLib. We use CoinLib, I think, for our rates. for ZelTrez anyway.
But basically, this is the way the market's going right now. Bitcoin is just dropped by
is this like right now?
Yeah,
it's right now?
Over the last hour, it tanked.
Oh, that's a nice one. Ow.
Ouch.
Good thing I'm not touching any of my crypto for a while. So I don't mind. Anything I got out when BTC was in the high teens, and I was happy. So
don't touch the pre-mine.
I think that was a good call. Don't touch the pre-mine. Hopefully, yeah, you're right. What's people talking about? UK, yeah, the UK depends on humor to get through. I don't know. As a young person, I think a lot of young people do feel like they want to move somewhere, go somewhere. I quite like the States. When I went to the States, I quite like European living. I'm not sure where I'm going to stay. I think I'm going to be traveling quite a lot and staying in all sorts of different places. A lot of my life, every summer I'd visit Ukraine. So Ukraine, that little splinter of Russia, they do have their own language and a little bit of their own culture, but a lot of people still speak Russian there. And my family that lives there is Russian. So, well, there's a little bit of a mix of Ukrainian in there, but it's a difficult landscape, I think, in the world in general, where, sort of going back to our previous conversation, where you have this perfect be-all, end-all country where everything's perfect.
No, it doesn't exist. Yeah,
it doesn't exist, and it's not going to exist.
You've got the right mindset, Miles. I think well, not just any young person, any person. One point in your life, you need to go out there and travel and see the world and meet people from, meet people from other cultures, other races, other colors, everything. You quickly realize
different breeds,
religion, color, all that kind of crap that the media tries to throw down. None of it means anything. It doesn't mean anything.
I would say that religion to me has always been very interesting. We are completely off a tangent right now.
Yeah.
But religion is very interesting, and the core concepts behind it. And my sort of feeling is I respect all religions and all people's beliefs as long as they don't try to affect me or encroach on me. So
I think most people are like that. I think most people are.
Exactly.
Especially in the UK, I would say most people, even the ones that say they're religious, they're probably agnostic. But I don't think the UK is that bad, in that regard.
No,
I know there's
the UK is good. We have strong and stable leadership, as Theresa May would say, as a slogan. As strong and stable as she really is or isn't. The UK is good, and I'm happy I was born in this country rather than being born potentially in Russia or Ukraine. I think the States, again, is a good option. Canada, wherever, but even places, I'm not sure what if there are any Aussies here, if they can comment. It's really difficult to try, and where we were going originally was talking about Zell, any communications or dApps that would run on Zell.
Yeah.
We would try our best not to censor them, but it's difficult to adhere to all laws, so we'd have to, we can't stop them from running really, unless the network decides, so all the node owners decide that they don't want it to run.
But it's kind of difficult because it's even just to tie it back to cryptocurrency, something we kind of touched upon earlier. Take something like Bitcoin Talk, and they are, you could say that it's lightly moderated, put it that way. And a discussion forum is kind of hard to manage because you try and, I used to run some forums, and you moderate too heavily. People say, oh, I can't see anything, it will be removed, or set it spam or hate. You do it too lightly and it's anarchy. People just it's like mayhem.
No, exactly.
But so it needs to be something in the middle. But I think Bitcoin Talk is they've taken the approach that anyone can post a new thread, anyone can start a new cryptocurrency. Now the downside to that we're seeing is all the scams are being listed on Bitcoin Talk, all these Ponzi schemes, and people are losing money there. So
and it's also giving a negative name to crypto.
Yes, sure. I mean, if you look at it, you could be. I think it's a cancer, really. These kind of coins, they're really hunting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got pissed off, and I don't really get angry very often, but I got quite pissed off when there was a BBC piece that was talking about crypto and BTC, and there was not one positive point. Everything was negative. The only positive, they sort of talked a little bit about how blockchain works, distributed ledgers. That was only the positive. Everything else, it was just like they were just taking the piss out of it, you know.
Yeah.
And they were saying how it's, you know, negative because it's used for drugs, it's used for this. And I say, well, yeah, before crypto there was cash, you know that stuff. So
crypto still can't touch the amount of money that's been transferred in fiat money for drugs and for
never. It will take it, unless no one we stop fiat completely.
Yeah,
no.
But it's interesting because I know we're kind of going into politics and religion, kind of touching upon this, but in a way it does tie into what you're trying to do as far as your messaging system and all these other things, all these other applications. Because as you say, you know, decentralized. Say an asset comes along and they're built upon the ZelCash platform, and what if they are doing something malicious, or what if they're doing something? It kind of drags your name into the mud by association in some ways. But I mean, there's a lot of Ethereum assets with the, you know, the Ponzi schemes with the terrible ICOs and all that.
I would take Vitalik's joke of if you want me to advise on your ICO, please email me at noreply@vitalik.com. That's brilliant, you know. And it's really the only thing we could do is discredit them by saying we don't support this.
Yeah.
Someone just asked, is it more profitable if I run any combination of 10K, 25K nodes, so a Zel node, a super node, and add it up?
That's a good question, Sean.
Like one BAMF. Yeah, it's not. It's more profit to run a BAMF than it is to run multiple small nodes. That's how we designed it. So.
If I go, I'll go back and I'll find that, so I'll show people the table.
Sure.
Right, there we got it. Right, so yeah, 10,000 gets 15%. So it's not more profitable.
No.
Because looking at there, the reward percent of block, it's got 10,000 gets 15%. A BAMF gets 60%.
You can't add percents as 15, 30, 45. That's not how it works. It's all getting 15%.
Oh, right, okay.
And there'll be more,
so that's 10,
although it looks like
it.
Yeah,
you're right, yeah.
And naturally you'll have more Zel nodes running.
So that's 10,000 coins getting 15%, and then it's 100,000 coins getting 60%.
Yeah, but then that 60% is given to all the BAMF nodes. So then it's distributed between the BAMF nodes.
Right, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. A good question, though. That's not something that's not something I picked up on earlier.
Yeah, looking at the maths, it looks like this is silly. Why would I ever want to run a BAMF? But no,
yeah.
Someone's just come in and said, "Okay, kids, I have my ZelTrez wallet. Good to know. Very nice, by the way, and have a rig group set up to mine it in a few hours. I will hit payouts and I'm currently ZelCash. It's great. Thank you. You've gained a miner. That's nice.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna give it a try myself. I mean, I'm set up for 1445 anyway. I'm trying not to jump around different algorithms too much now, because I tweak all my GPUs. I'm like, right, I get it down to the, you know, I can run it at 60%. I test all the memory, and then someone says, "Oh, try this coin," and it's a completely different algorithm. I'm like, oh,
what I ended up doing when I was,
I need to test them all again.
Go ahead.
No, on you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because I was mining a bunch of different coins with my farm. I had a Google Doc that, well, an Excel sheet basically that just had different settings for different algorithms, and I'd be able to go, right, that's that for simple mining. Okay, done. Because I use simple mining for everything, so I couldn't set my overclocks to be per group. I had to change them every time. Actually worked on the guy that runs.
See, I tested simple mining recently, and some people say that was hard on it. I think it's good, but I think it's very, very basic compared to. Because I went Awesome Miner and then Hive. Hive OS gives you a lot more. There's another one.
I'm thinking of moving to Hive. The only problem is I have like $70 worth of whatever credit on Smos. On Smos. So I'm going to use it because I'm planning on setting up a big farm. I'm just waiting to see sort of how the GPUs go. But I'm confident I'm going to be setting up a large GPU farm for myself at some point. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. I think this is something that I don't think this has been discussed a lot either. I was chatting to the guy from Vertical Coin, and I think I'll be doing an interview with him soon. And he went, "Oh yeah, I'm a GPU miner. You know, I've got a big, massive farm and all." And I was like, you know, that's really good. That's good for the developers and the founders and all that to know how it all works, because there are a lot of founders. You know, I'm not going to criticize them, but I think it is good for them to have an insight into how miners think. And
yeah,
you know,
no, I was a miner before, as other people were coming from big business or coming from just space in general. That was my way in. Well, first I was always in and around computers for as long as I can remember, just playing around, tweaking, messing around with them, and I just sort of got into mining after seeing, oh, this is cool. This is internet money. How can I get this internet money without buying internet money? Oh, I can make internet money. Now, that's cool. Yeah. So that's really how I got into it, and it really just snowballed from there. And reading more into the tech, seeing Ethereum in its early days, it definitely then inspired me to start Zel, because I felt confident, yeah, I can do this. And I also felt that it needs to sort of be done. It'll be cool if it does end up working out, because we are doing what a lot of projects are doing, but they're doing one part of what we're doing, whereas we're doing the whole thing in one big go. And it's under one entity anyway. And that could be called centralized. Somebody should probably make a competitor go for it. But
yeah. Nice.
But yeah.
I'm just posting some. Oh, I can't do that. Is that too much? Hold on.
Do you have any suggestions for the overclock settings for my GTX 1060?
Yeah, I'm going to copy.
I don't know, for 1060, I don't know. I don't run 1060s anymore.
I've got 1060s here, so I'm going to just post.
1070 Ti is a night and day, though. They are brilliant cards.
Yeah, well,
I had mine running
got a few of them.
Go ahead.
My friends got a few of them. I've just got 1060s. Just the way that it worked out at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was buying them November, December, and
okay.
There weren't many around it. You basically had to get what you could,
Yeah, no. I went with 1060s only because they're the cheapest thing for me and they're most cost effective at the time. So I went for them and they were cool. I've got some nice pictures of my little it cooked the house up though. I had to build a shed separately because my parents were ready to chuck them out the window. So
yeah, you can't blame them. You know what?
No.
That's the thing.
It was
that's the one. That's a problem that kind of hit me quickly, because we went through a really bad winter in the UK, but then we've arrived with one of the best summers. I can't remember it ever being like this.
Best. I'm sweating in here. Yeah, lovely.
So it went from being great to have all these GPUs in the room to being really bad. Just to clarify, it's just zero. Just to clarify, it's just zero. Those figures as far as the hash rate are based on EWBF 0.2 or 0.3. I think I'm getting like 24 per 1060 now, or 23, 24. But just
those
forget
are really
about the
good
hash
settings
rate.
if you're getting that hash rate. I need to have a play around with mine a little bit more because it's great.
Yeah, well, we did a live stream. So I did a live stream where I basically just tested it all, and we found quite quickly that memory doesn't seem to do much. And power, you could drop it from 100% down to like 60 or 70, and
yeah, I run mine on 100 to 120 watts. And
what's that for for the 1070 Ti's?
1070 Ti's, yeah.
And what are they? So those are 180 watts normally.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I got the same hash rate as I had at 180 as I had at 100 and 120. This is 209 equihash. Right. So for 209, I had 100 watts, and I was getting like 500, 530, 550 souls per card.
That's good.
And then that was good. And then for
the 1445,
145, I think I'm at like 110, 120 for some cards. And then I've got 200 on core, 1,000 on mem, but I should probably play around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I found memory does seem in 1445. I think it does give you an extra couple of souls, but it's also putting the watts up as well. It was somebody that said that to me, during a stream or during a video, and they're like, no, just drop the memory because it's it's going to use up a lot of power.
Yeah.
It's just zero. I've been using similar settings. That was also mine, I think, at the time, but I used similar settings on Hive OS. I can give you a screenshot after this I can post it on Twitter if anyone wants a screenshot of my Hive OS wallet settings, or the OC settings.
Send your private keys out. Go for it.
Yeah. Be careful with that. Yeah, Hive OS is good, by the way. The problem I had with SMOS is if you've went from you know, just downloading CC Miner or EWBF and you're just, you know, editing a bat file, going to SMOS is amazing because it helps you do everything. But I went from Awesome Miner, which has got every feature under the sun, to Hive OS, which is more restrictive but is better for cloud mining. And then when I got to SMOS, I was like, I can't do anything. You know, it's like, I can't profit switch. There's no templates. I can't set up backup pools. All these other things I've got. Like in Awesome Miner, the problem with Awesome Miner is it's on Windows. That's the main problem with that.
No, I started with Windows, and I ended up having a system where I would actually just restart the computer anyway every like 30 minutes because it kept crashing every like hour or so. So every 30 minutes, I'd get it to restart, start the miner again. So, yeah.
I've actually been quite lucky recently. I've been quite lucky recently as far as I've not had any downtime in my Windows. Like I went through a spell for about 6 weeks, which is what led me to explore Hive OS and SMOS and all that. I went through a spell where Windows Defender just like for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, it was stopping miners all the time, just aggressively. You were saying, I actually come up messages. I was saying block, you know, allow everything in that Awesome Miner folder, and it come up a message. I'm paraphrasing it, but it basically says, "We know you wanted to block this. We wanted you to allow this, but we're blocking it anyway." And you're like, "What the?
Why? Who do you think you are?"
Well, that's the thing. It's Windows, and I can understand why they're doing it because I've seen some articles and basically all the spyware and the malware and all these people
You've got
are
people
basically
using botnets to mine.
Yeah, they're using to mine. So this is why Microsoft are going after them.
Okay, I think it was a point where you could rent a VPS and you could mine more Monero than the VPS cost you, so it's quite good.
Yeah,
that's what happened to AWS quite a few times.
See, I never looked into that. I never looked into that because I've got a dedicated server, but I've never used it for mining, which is probably a waste because most of the servers sitting there doing nothing.
Okay, to reiterate, I just want to go back to my political comments if I said anything. No one's messaged me about me yet. It's my own opinion, not...
You're going to get us banned from iTunes and from YouTube.
Yeah, I've got to be careful, right? And any comments I made are my own. And take them up with me and fight me on Twitter. Go for it. But it's not a Zel thing.
Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, come at me. No, I think what most people do that everyone's equal. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, and as long as you're not trying to incentivize violence against another group, or you're just being hateful, you know, you should be fine. But it's difficult to describe what is hateful and to define it. So
yeah,
I think
it's very difficult.
Principles of free speech and equality is what I believe in. Do as you please, do as you want, as long as it doesn't affect me. And the comment on women in the US, I understand there could be some problems for women in the US and other countries for sure. They don't definitely have it harder than men do overall. But yeah, those were my comments on a few hours sleep. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Not trying to go at me. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I covered my ass.
No, but it is a very difficult line as to what constitutes free speech and what, you know, constitutes hate speech.
Exactly, and it depends on who's deciding it. Because
well, even if you look,
get offended by something that I don't get offended by, for example.
Yeah, and it's context, and you know, your friend can say something really insulting, you don't take it the wrong way, and a stranger says it to you, and you know, it's all guns blazing, everyone wants to fight. But if you look at, you know, if you look at yeah, but if you look at like, there's seen a lot of celebrities who are actually coming off of social media, or you know, that even worse, you know, it's hurting their mental health really, because basically all day long they're getting beep 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 beep, and just people abusing them, threatening them, and all these things. And I don't know. I mean, I get a small amount, and I think anyone with a YouTube channel will get trolls and abuse and things like that. But I can only imagine what these celebrities get that've got millions of followers.
For sure. No, I've had some lewd comments. Obviously, I'm on the internet, right? I've had some really weird stuff. You know, people have been posting all sorts of weird things. But it is what it is, and you have to just get on with the internet, right? It is how it is, and on the benefit of free speech, yes, there are negatives, but overall, I think it's definitely a thing we should support in its entirety as much as possible, in its full effect as we can. Yeah. So, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of debate over this whole thing over the next few years as far as that goes.
For sure.
Hi, Chris.
What is ZelCash? Chris, where have you been?
Yeah. We're in hour 3. I actually see before we started, and we're like, right, so, you know, I was saying...
hour,
I
30
think,
minutes maybe.
yeah, that's what I said. I said, listen, we can do it 30 minutes, an hour. I says, I'll go as long as you want. And you're like, yeah, I'll do as long as you want as well. 3 hours later, we've proved that. Chris, I'll post...
Just know that I've got to... Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'll post the website for you, Chris, if you want to catch up. This stream will be available on YouTube. You can ride this one as well. But yeah, check out ZelCash. Can we give a quick summary? It is an Equihash coin, 1445.
For now.
Total supply 210 million. Mineable. It's on exchanges. It's got masternodes coming. It's got its own unique wallet as well, which you can see on the website, ZelTrez, and they've got a DEX and a lot of other things coming. See, we could have did this. We could have did this in 5 minutes rather than 3 hours.
We could have. This is a good video. Hopefully you keep it up, because it'll be a good point for me to point people to and say, here's us having a candid chat about what it is. So here's everything out on the table.
No, I mean, we were talking about this before. I think, I guess you could call this just a chat or a less formal. Yeah, I think these kind of videos are better than formal. The one I went on with, we went on with Seth Estrada, I believe his name's pronounced. Yeah.
He's cool. Seth's all right.
Really nice. He comes across a really nice guy.
He's a bit more aggressive sometimes, his questions, but it's good. Right, okay. Good at questions. It challenges teams and it makes sure that you are who you say.
Maybe I'm not aggressive enough. I'm getting paranoid. I need to up my game
I really enjoyed this, and I really like the format and just the chat. And I think it flows really well. You get a lot of information from me, and we have a good discussion overall, I feel.
Well, the reason I enjoy these kind of streams, and the reason why I'm trying to bring in more people like yourself, is because I don't, I think a lot of people see you on YouTube and they think you're an expert. I am far from being an expert. I'm an enthusiast. I'm someone who's, wants to learn more and all that.
I haven't got a bit of paper that says I'm an expert, so
yeah. I think it's dangerous when people start calling themselves that anyway. I've seen this, in my previous work, where I've worked online for like 19 years, and then someone's been working online three months, and they've got a profile picture with them saying I'm an expert on this, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
But no, definitely. And this, as far as from a selfish point of view, it's great to connect with people like yourself and just learn more about it. I think when it comes to GPU mining and investing, you kind of need to pick your battle sometimes, and you go, right, I'm going to invest in this coin. I'm going to check out the blog and Discord, and you kind of tie yourself to a project. And it's good learning about other projects out there that perhaps didn't come on your radar before, or didn't, because I knew about ZelCash, but I didn't mine it because I was mining another coin and I was mining another one. So I'm really fascinated with what you guys are doing. So it's been good.
Great. Someone suggested we should consider weeking up for weekly chats.
Yeah.
If there was time, have like a show.
That sounds good. No, thanks. We can tie up soon now, because that's been over 3 hours and I'm feel bad for keeping you this long.
That's all right. I've done my day's work today anyway, so that's why I said the other guys had to go, because the Daesh is still working on stuff and he's a few hours.
Oh, right enough. Yeah, it's the end of the day for us, and they still need to work. Anyone get any last questions for Miles before we tie up the stream? Please do post, especially Chris, because Chris just arrived, so you need to ask a question.
Is Chris a regular?
Yeah, Chris. I think quite a lot of the people who tuned in, I think most of them, there's probably a few people from your own Discord as well that dropped by.
Yeah, we just posted an announcement in our Discord, and I think we retweeted your tweets. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, most of the people watching tune in a lot. Okay, we've actually, see, when I think about it, we missed out a lot of the questions at the start because we couldn't scroll back, but that's probably okay. We probably covered most of it now. Richard,
if people want to try and get in contact with me better, they can either go through Discord, or I just DM'd you my Twitter. If you could put that maybe in the chat, if people want to find an easy way to chat with me and talk to me.
I've got a weird issue just now where Twitter isn't working unless I go through Tor browser. It's a Windows thing. I don't know what it is. It's bizarre. Whenever Windows needs an update, Twitter stops working. I don't know if I've tried every solution. But what I'll do, when I end the stream, guys, I'm going to add a description at the bottom, and I'll add a link to the Twitter page and the Discord link as well. In fact, I can get that. What am I talking about? I can get that from your website.
Yeah. I was more plugging my own personal Twitter if people want it, because I think people can type in ZelCash and find it. If they want to find out and talk to me, it's all about anything.
So
I'm open as yeah.
Yeah, so I've posted the Twitter, so you can follow ZelCash, twitter.com/ZelCash. I've posted the Discord link as well. So, one of the things I always say to, to people who watch my channel is look at the website, look at the white paper, look at, the Twitter page and all that. But go into the Discord, hang out for a few days, get a feel for it all, and, just see what's happening. I think sometimes that's the best way to find out what, a coin is all about and what the community is all about. On that regard,
yeah, I've just said check out this channel, because that on there we do bi-weekly live chats where we go on and we say, here's what we're doing, here's what we're working on, here's something if you can help us.
What days are those on?
Those are usually planned for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and they're every 2 weeks. So we just had one a couple days ago on Sunday.
So it's that's just like a conference call where everyone chats to each other, kind of like that, or
pretty much. If you want to go have a look, we basically have a presentation on screen and then we have a chat. And then what we do is move over to Discord to then have a chat with the community afterwards, and we sometimes record that as well. But we're always in Discord. You can always reach us and ask any questions you want. We'll try and answer them as quickly as we could. But
that's good. You posted there, check out this channel. You tried to post a link and it didn't post, or?
No, you probably can click just that channel. Can you not? In chat?
Oh yeah. No, yeah, that's fine.
Can you? I'm not sure if you can. If you could post a link.
Yeah, you're right. I'll get that.
You can get the link. Just Google ZelCash YouTube and you'll find it. It's the one with the presentations.
Yeah.
Live team. There, you can find a lot of information from there as well if you guys are interested in Zel.
I'll bring it up in the browser quickly just so that I can show people what we're talking about.
Sure.
So this is the ZelCash YouTube channel. So if you're watching, show some love, give them a subscribe.
Only if you're interested in Zel, that's actually find out what we're doing.
That's my other channel. I need to switch back around to the other one, but I'll do that in a second. In fact, can I do that just now?
Just shameless plugs at the end, I guess, if you haven't got any other questions.
I think you've earned a few shameless plugs if you stream for 3 hours. Yeah, I subscribed via my other channel there, but just to show people that I'm doing this.
You froze a little bit, sorry. What did you say?
No, just saying, that way, see when you've got multiple YouTube channels, you need to be signed into the correct channel. So I was signed into my other
I have that thing with Hangouts and Meets as well.
Yeah, it's the way that that Google does it. So yeah, I can see that there on your YouTube channel. You've got team meetings and Zelnode discussion live.
Yeah,
team meeting,
so
meet.
if you're interested in Zel and you want to find out more, that's a treasure trove of information, because a lot of stuff we talk about it, and then for us to go and put it in our white paper. So for a while, our white paper was quite outdated because we were just doing and developing. We didn't sit down and spend time on writing it all on paper. It was on Discord. It was floating all over the place. It was in chats, but it wasn't put on
across everywhere.
Paper. Yeah, exactly. So that's why we try and update it as regularly as possible as we develop, projects as we move forward. But yeah, those are the best resources, especially Discord. We're in there a lot. We have, about 2,500 people, almost 3,000, I think now, in there chatting every now and then. So,
that's great. So just to summarize, guys, you can check out ZelCash at zel.cash, and I'll show the website again here. Seeing the Zoom software that we're using here, you can share your screen, but it's got a weird thing that it doesn't display my webcam anymore when I do that. It goes a little bit weird and it doesn't show you.
Okay.
But go to zel.cash and you'll find everything. Go to the bottom of the page and you'll find all the links to Twitter, Discord. Everything's there. White paper's there as well. And there's links to the pools, exchanges, the wallets. Everything is there. The team as well.
We need to add some more team members so that we didn't get good photos for them. So they haven't made it, but there's a couple guys missing.
No, that's fine. They all see me. There's Daniel there as well.
One thing that actually reminds me of, I had a point to make and I didn't make it when we were talking about how do you keep developers and this team going without much funding. We lost developers to literally Kraken, the exchange. We lost a developer to Kraken, the exchange, as they came along and they could offer much more than we could for him. So it's difficult when you're starting without any funds at all to try and keep any developers, going back to that point there. So we're working on it now. We have a more sort of sustainable business model as we move forward. We are able to expand the team, but yeah, getting as many people on full time as possible and working is sort of a key thing.
But I mean, it must be difficult though, because you could find a good developer and you can go, you know, this guy's great for the team and you know that, but then in his position, he's getting offered a job that pays more money, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, and it's less hours because we're working tirelessly to get our stuff done, right?
Well, essentially, you're a startup.
Yeah,
you know.
No, we are a startup, and definitely feels like a startup. Oh, there's been a question. Where did the Zel and ZelCash come from? Okay, so ZCash, Z.cash, the domain. Now, there was a cool backstory for it, but that's not what it actually is. Someone said it's Zcash, ZK Snarks, Ethereum, and that sort of protocol, and it's linked together. That's sort of like the logo and that kind of thing. It's not really what it is. Really, I just sat there and was like, okay, Zcash, I'm forking Zcash, so let's just have a look what I can get with a .cash domain. So I went down to, ZelCash, that's free. Googled ZelCash, nothing really came up. So we're at the top of Google now when you Google ZelCash because there's nothing else related to it. So that's where that came from. It was just a unique-ish enough name that's still tied into Zcash and that sort of side of things. So that's where that came from.
I mean, finding a unique domain in 2018 is hard enough as it is, you know?
Yeah, that took a few hours, yeah. It was, and it sounds good enough to just put in front of things as well. So, you know,
it's a short brandable name.
It's a short random name, and it has some meaning. There's no previous history with it. So that's why it was sort of picked.
That's good. Well, you've convinced Richard. He's subbed. He said he's held ZelCash since February.
Oh, Richard's been around for a while. Is he on Discord, Richard? Is he using it? Maybe I have to for a while.
I've got it's a different username in Discord. It's like is it Rakibib or something? I'll need to find that. In fact, I've got Discord open here. I can probably see that myself. I was chatting to him. Hope you don't mind me sharing your username. Rakib.
How's that spelled? I might have spoken to him before.
Hope you don't mind me sharing this, Richard.
Richard, you're being doxed. Your Discord name.
Yeah. That's the thing. I've said that. I was joking about this before, the other day. And
he's in our Discord. He hasn't ever said anything. He's just lurking.
Yeah.
He just lurks.
I was saying this the other day where people leave a comment on my YouTube videos with one name, leave a message on Twitter with another name, and then they're chatting to me in Discord with another name, and then they keep chatting as if I know who they are. And I'm like, oh, right, I didn't know you were him. It's like,
yeah. Well, the other thing that throws people off is they just change profile picture. Yeah, so on Twitter, they have one profile picture. We've got one guy that's quite active in Discord. His profile picture is like a Bitcoin, physical coin kind of thing, representation. Right? It's not just lines of code, well, a string of code. But he's got the same name, Manticore, and after every post we make on Twitter, he says, okay, like sort of sarcastically, but he supports the guy. But we had no idea who this guy was, and we thought he was trolling us, just by going, okay, after everything we said. So
yeah, just because he did.
The coins that are added to ZelTrez paying to be listed. Some are, some aren't. It depends on their size, if they're able to. We do community ads where stuff like Snowgem couldn't afford to pay for listing. We knew a lot of our community members wanted it, so we went and added it. So yeah, it's a mixture for sure, Louis. All right.
Now, at least we got a few people who want to mine it. That's good. Well, we're kind of touching upon it earlier. If you look in the ZelCash website and you go to the roadmap page, you'll see that they're setting out to do Zel nodes in October, perhaps late October. So you've got a good few months to accumulate some coins if that is something that would interest you in the future.
Just put an asterisk next to that.
Yeah.
It's aimed for October. We're going to talk with the community a little bit and see what the sort of opinion is on releasing it in and around the end of October going into November, or waiting for the you have to wait. We could release it, right? The economics do sort of work with how it is now, but the community might want us to hold it back. Like we've already been asked to stop releasing updates for ZelTrez because we're releasing too many. They think we're going to run out. Yeah. They want us to save them for like hype or something.
I was talking to Jeff about the nodes in Safecoin the other day, and he talked about perhaps one option is to do like phased, where you released nodes like phase 1 then phase 2 and kind of grow it organically like that. It is a difficult situation. Like
the reason we're going to release them all in one big go is because we want the BAMF nodes and we need them for the DEX to be really good.
Right.
That way. So yeah,
Launch with a bang.
boom. Well, that's what, you know, what does BAMF actually stand for, guys?
Oh, that's something we never talked about before, is it? Can I
Just
cheat?
Google
Look at the white paper.
Yeah, you Google that.
BAMF. Is it a joke thing or is it serious?
Yeah, it's not a serious thing. No, it's kind of a joke. Urban Dictionary might be able to guide you.
Marvel Comics.
No. You want to go? I'll just.
You're a band and maintain you suck. All right, a badass mother.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, there you go. I didn't know that. I didn't even question that earlier. I just assumed it was some sort of technical thing. I don't make myself look stupid.
No, that's very Mark Zuckerberg Facebook early days, isn't it? No, we just decided like we wanted to call them something, but we didn't want to call it something like mega super, you know.
Yeah, like super nodes and that. No, that's cool.
No, we have Zel nodes, we have super nodes, we have a third tier. What are we going to call this third tier? Well, this third tier is pretty baller, so that's what we called it.
Well, there's a future advertisement with Samuel Jackson. If you ever need him to advertise your nodes.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
That's great. Well, thanks again, Miles. It's been a blast. It's been great getting to know you today. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. Thanks to everyone who posted a comment. I'll leave links to, you know, all the YouTube channel, the website, and all that below as well. Hopefully sometime in the future we can chat again. That'd be good on my channel or on the ZelCash channel or something. We'll work something out.
Sure. It was a good chat. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but best of luck over the next few months. It sounds like you guys have got a lot of work on your plate. So
yeah, we do. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the opportunity to come on here and have a chat. It was, like I said, very enjoyable. Great interview. We'd love to do it again or, you know, whatever other chat. And thank you everybody who's with us live and who watches it later. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. So I'm going to join up to the Discord myself and try and hang out there the next few days. So join me. Join up to the ZelCash Discord. Say hello and get to know Miles and the rest of the team. Thanks, guys. All the best. I really do appreciate it. And thanks again to Miles and Daniel and the rest of the ZelCash team.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.